Blue Star civilization has been selected for the survival game, God's Domain. In 30 seconds, every adult between 18 and 50 gets dragged into this nightmare. Death in God's Domain means death in reality. If all players die, Blue Star will be erased. Panic erupted globally as people realized this was a fight for survival, not a game. Panic gripped everyone, myself included, huddled in my rental room. I sat before my computer, staring at an unfinished boss fight with a strange expression. One moment I was gaming, the next, reality had shifted. I appeared calm, but I was internally terrified. A pillar of white light descended, and I vanished. I awoke in a grand temple. System data was imported into my mind. I quickly grasped the basics: classes, levels, attributes, and the critical mechanic of lifespan. This was a real world. Players start with 100 years of life. Death consumes it. I chose the name Night God and selected the Archer class for my safety. Talent determines a player's potential, ranging from F to SSS. I awakened a unique, eternal grade talent, Infinite Backpack. I examined the talent details. Any item placed in my backpack becomes infinite in quantity. The talent has the highest rule priority. It cannot be sealed, stolen, copied, or detected. I realized the implications: infinite potions, gold, and gear. This was not just a backpack. It was an infinite resource vault, which is a convenient way to avoid ever having to organize my inventory. I arrived at Novice Village number 9527. After opening my starter pack, my infinite backpack triggered. My arrows, life potions, and mana potions became infinite. Nearby, a player named Kwang Dao boasted about his A-grade Berserk Power talent. I ignored him. I needed to start grinding immediately. If I fell behind, the survival of Huaxia and Blue Star would be at risk. I left the safe zone first, earning a random skill book as a reward. The book entered my backpack and became infinite, which is a convenient way to avoid ever having to organize my inventory. I finally realized what my power was actually capable of. I could master every skill in existence and probably supply the entire village single-handedly. I kept my head down to avoid unwanted attention and cracked open a skill book. I learned Precision Shot. Level 1. Increases hit rate and damage by 10%. Costs 5 mana, 8-second cooldown. I learned Wind Walk to make sure I could actually get around. I learned Armor Piercing Arrow. Level 1. Deals 120% damage and ignores 10 defense. Costs 6 mana, 6-second cooldown. I learned Double Shot. Fires 2 arrows, each dealing 70% damage. Costs 8 mana. Cooldown, 10 seconds. You used a random class skill book, Common Not. Congratulations, you obtained the Archer skill, Eagle Eye. Common, LV1. Effect: passive, plus 5% attack range, plus 1% crit rate. I grinned. 5 books, 5 skills, all practical. While normal archers start with 1 basic shot, I already had 6, which is a bit like showing up to a duel with a small armory strapped to my back. This was the terror of the infinite backpack. However, when I used the 6th skill book, the prompt changed. You used a random class skill book, Common. You obtained a duplicate, Precision Shot. Detect that you already possess this skill. Convert to proficiency. My eyes lit up. I chose to convert. Conversion successful. Precision Shot proficiency, plus 100. Skill leveled up to LV2. Effect: active, next attack plus 12% hit rate, and plus 12% damage. Cost: 6 mana. Cooldown: 8 seconds. I realized I could not only learn every common skill, but also max them out. Others spent days grinding for a single level. I just needed to keep using books. It was better than cheating. I began frantically using the books. You used a random class skill book, Common. You obtained a duplicate, Armor Piercing Arrow. Proficiency plus 100. Armor Piercing Arrow leveled up to LV2. You used a random class skill book, Common Not. You obtained a duplicate, Wind Walk. Proficiency plus 100. Wind Walk leveled up to LV3. You used a random class skill book, Common Not. You obtained a duplicate, Eagle Eye. Proficiency plus 100. Eagle Eye leveled up to LV4. Within minutes, my skill panel transformed, looking far more competent than I actually felt. All my common archer skills hit LV10. Precision Shot, Common. Level: LV10 effect. Active, next attack plus 30% hit rate, and plus 30% damage. Cost, 15 mana. Cooldown, 7 seconds. Wind Walk, common, LV10. Effect, active, plus 60% movement speed for 20 seconds. Cost, 20 mana. Cooldown, 24 seconds. Armor-piercing arrow, common, LV10. Effect, active, deals 180% physical damage and ignores 100 points of physical defense. Cost, 18 mana. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Double shot, common, LV10. Effect, active, fires 2 arrows, each dealing 110% physical damage. Cost, 20 mana. Cooldown, 8 seconds. Eagle Eye, common, LV10. Effect, passive, plus 30% attack range, plus 10% crit rate. I marveled at my stats. I hadn't even killed a monster yet, but I was already light years ahead of normal players. Ignoring 100 points of defense was massive, as most early monsters had less than 20. I was effectively dealing true damage. The Eagle Eye buff also ensured my safety and burst potential. I wasn't bothered by missing out on high-tier skills just yet. It was time to see exactly how much damage I could dish out. I spotted a nearby greenskin mantis. LV1 greenskin mantis, common, HP, 80/80ths. Attack, 8. Defense, 3. Skills, none. Time to test you. I drew my bow. Since my arrows were infinite, I didn't have to worry about supply. I fired. Armor-piercing arrow. The arrow pierced the creature's head instantly. Minus 166. You killed the LV1 greenskin mantis. EXP plus 10. Obtained 3 copper coins. Detected copper coins entering the backpack. Quantity changed to infinite. I was stunned. Even my currency was infinite. With infinite money, I would never have to worry about costs again. Before entering a dungeon, I should clear out the village shop. I headed back to the village square, where players were busy forming parties. Kwang Dao stood in the center. I have an A-rank talent, plus 50% attack. I'm only taking girls, pretty ones preferred. Male players sighed in frustration. Kwang Dao, you're the best in novice village number 9527. Can you take me? Take me? I'm an assassin. Kwang Dao enjoyed the attention until he saw me. Yo, isn't that Night God? Back so soon. Scared off by the monsters. The crowd watched, skeptical. In God's domain, death cost lifespan. Being the first to leave meant nothing if you were weak. I ignored him, but Kwang Dao took my silence as confirmation of fear. Look, since you were brave enough to leave first, I'll let you join my team. But equipment and skill books go to me first. I laughed. This guy was already acting like a king with an A-rank talent. How about it, Night God? Want to join? Not interested. I walked past him toward the shop. Kwang Dao's face darkened. Night God, you better pray you don't run into me in the wild. I didn't look back. You better pray you don't block my path. Inside the shop, I bought everything. Teleportation scrolls, identification scrolls, random teleportation scrolls, and my inventory count immediately updated to infinite. Notifications chimed, and I smiled. The shopkeeper, seeing me pay without hesitation, grew serious. Young traveler, you have potential, but my true treasures aren't on display. He pulled out a wooden box containing 3 items. Rough storage ring, fine grade. Price, 5,000 copper. Effect, plus 10 inventory slots. Incomplete novice village map, fine grade. Price, 3,000 copper. Effect, records areas surrounding novice village number 9527. Low-level mana crystal, fine grade. Price, 8,000 copper. Effect, restores 5 mana/SEC for 60 seconds. I was stunned by the storage ring. Such items were incredibly rare early on. Item grades range from white to forbidden artifacts and beyond. For others, 10 extra slots are a luxury. For me, it meant something else entirely. I'll take all 3, I said. The shopkeeper grinned. You have an eye for quality. Purchased, rough storage ring, incomplete map, low-level mana crystal. Total, 16,000 copper. Item quantities set to infinite. I gasped. The thrill was intoxicating. Anything better? I asked. The shopkeeper scoffed. This is a novice shop, not a treasury of artifacts. I laughed and headed to the potion shop, repeatedly using the ring to expand my capacity. In seconds, my inventory surged from 20 to 600 slots. I strolled into the potion shop and told the NPC, "I'll take one of every potion you have." All purchased potions set to infinite. With infinite life, mana, and buff potions, I made myself effectively unkillable unless I got one shot. I didn't stop there. I also secured infinite town portal and random teleportation scrolls. If I couldn't win, I'd just chug potions. If that failed, I'd teleport away. I then visited the blacksmith, where a muscular man was hammering away. The racks held basic novice gear, swords, daggers, staves, bows, and armor, none of which interested me in the slightest. "Do you have any arrows?" "The best you've got," I asked. The blacksmith, having noticed my lavish spending, pegged me as someone with a god of wealth talent. "Since you're an archer, I have the finest bow in the shop." The blacksmith produced a fine-grade bow. Swift bow, fine grade. REQ, LV1, Phys ATK plus 15, Agility plus 3, ATK speed plus 5%. Price, 10,000 copper. My eyes lit up. I bought it, and the quantity became infinite. After equipping it, I headed out, ignoring the crowd praising Quang Dao, an A-rank talent user who had just reached level 2. Quang Dao mocked me. "Still in the village, night god? Too scared to leave." I ignored the clown. As I walked toward the exit, I activated Wind Walk and vanished, leaving the crowd stunned by my speed. I arrived at Mantis Slope and fired an armor-piercing arrow. Minus 348. Critical. Killed LV1 Green Mantis. Plus 10 EXP. Obtained Mantis Claw, white grade. Quantity set to infinite. I smirked. If I could loot dragon scales or god blood, they would also become infinite. This is getting absurd. I turned my attention to the slope. Armor-piercing arrow. Volleys of arrows pierced the mantises instantly. Minus 231. Killed LV1 Green Mantis. Plus 10 EXP. Obtained Gray Rabbit Meat, white grade. Quantity set to infinite. Infinite food meant I never had to return to the village to manage my hunger. Hunger usually reduced my stats, forcing me to eat. Now, I could camp in the wild indefinitely. I mowed down mantises with every shot. Within minutes, I had killed dozens. Level 1 EXP for 60/1000. Too slow, I muttered, activating Wind Walk to head deeper. I encountered stronger foes. LV2 Copperskin Mantis, white grade. HP 180/180. Phys ATK 18. Phys Def 8. Skill Bite. I didn't stop. Precision shot. The arrow struck the mantis's brow from dozens of meters away. Minus 198. I killed a level 2 Copperskin Mantis with a single strike, gaining 20 EXP and a mantis tooth. My infinite backpack immediately duplicated the item to infinite quantity. While others struggled to group up and kite, I simply stood back and picked them off. Double shot. 2 arrows flew simultaneously. 2 mantises fell before they could reach me. I mowed through the area, firing arrows as if they were free. Unlike others who had to retrieve their arrows, I fired relentlessly, targeting every monster that entered my vision. Within 10 minutes, a golden light enveloped me. Congratulations on reaching level 2, lifespan plus 1 year. I felt a surge of power. I allocated all 5 free attribute points into agility to maximize my distance and speed. My stats updated. Level 2, 101 years of life, 42 physical attack, and 22 agility. I pressed deeper into the grasslands, slaughtering mantises for rapid EXP. Upon killing my 80th mantis, a unique prompt appeared. You have obtained a special item, Bloodstained Silver Pocket Watch, unknown grade. The item was detected and stored in my infinite backpack. A notification warned, "This is a unique quest item and cannot be infinitely replicated." I paused. I realized this was the first time my talent had failed to duplicate an item. Since the system classified it as a unique quest item, duplication was impossible. I examined the watch, which bore dark bloodstains and a crack. An inscription read, "To my dearest daughter, may the starlight protect you forever." The description suggested it belonged to a villager and hinted at a return to the village. Realizing I had triggered a rare hidden quest, I decided to finish leveling to 3 before returning, prioritizing efficiency. As I pushed deeper, the mantises were replaced by gray-black, 3-legged insects. These level 3 monsters had 350 HP and higher defenses. The insects charged at me, teeth bared. I remained calm, drawing my Gale longbow. Armor-piercing arrow. A critical hit of 386 damage instantly killed the first insect. As the others closed in, I activated Wind Walk to glide backward while drawing my bow again. Double shot. 2 arrows struck, leaving one insect near death. I finished it with a basic attack, but the third insect lunged, teeth inches from my face. I pulled out a teleportation scroll. I vanished and reappeared 30 meters away, leaving the insect to crash into the dirt. I smiled. Unlike others who hoard their scrolls like gold, I use mine whenever I feel like it. Precision shot. The final insect was pinned to the grass. I gained 30 EXP and a piece of insect skin, which my backpack immediately duplicated. With Wind Walk, teleportation, and my range, these insects couldn't lay a finger on me. 10 minutes later, I hit level 3. I dumped my points into agility and used a town portal scroll to warp back to Novice Village number 9527. The village was bustling the moment I stepped back inside. Players were struggling, complaining about the difficulty and the loss of lifespan. Kwang Dao was surrounded by his usual crowd, but he fell silent the second he saw me appear out of thin air. Kwang Dao frowned, shocked that a solo player could afford such a luxury. He sensed I had grown stronger, but couldn't verify my level due to the game's privacy settings. In God's domain, low-level detection spells only reveal names. Ignoring Kwang Dao, I walked to a dilapidated wooden hut in the corner of the village. A young girl in a gray dress sat by the door. She spotted the silver pocket watch in my hand. "Big brother, where did you find it?" she asked, trembling. I handed it over. She wept, recognizing it as her father's, who had promised to watch the stars with her before he vanished. A system prompt appeared. "You have triggered the hidden quest, the missing hunter." The quest tasked me with finding Eileen's father, who had disappeared 3 days ago while investigating the insect swarms at Mantis Slope. Accept. The quest was accepted. Eileen, the young girl, tearfully asked me to find her father, warning me that the village chief said the deep grasslands were dangerous. I agreed. Village Chief Hua-in approached, cautioning me that Eileen's father was the village's best hunter. His disappearance suggested a terrifying threat. I remained unfazed, insisting on investigating. The chief relented, offering an extra reward if I could resolve the disturbance. "I can represent the village and grant you an additional reward." The quest updated. Hidden quest. The missing hunter upgraded to rare grade. Additional reward added. I was satisfied. The chief handed me a vial. "You received Hunter's Potion, excellent grade, X1. The quantity in my inventory became infinite. Effect: increases damage against beasts by 20% for 10 minutes. I couldn't hide my grin. An infinite supply of excellent grade damage-boosting potions meant a permanent buff. I thanked him and left. Players nearby realized I had triggered a hidden quest and decided to follow me. Kwang Dao watched with a dark expression, seething with jealousy that the night god had secured a hidden quest despite his own A-rank talent. Greed flickered in Kwang Dao's eyes. The rewards must be significant. He gripped his iron blade, whispering to his team, "Let's go." I noticed the tailing players, but remained unbothered. They would need to survive to follow me, which, given their current pace, seemed like a generous assumption on my part. I activated Wind Walk and turned into a gale. Kwang Dao and his 4 subordinates were already panting, struggling to keep pace. I could see the realization dawning on Kwang Dao. My speed was anything but normal. The team's priest wondered how I possessed such a rare early-game speed skill. Kwang Dao felt frustrated. Even his A-rank talent lacked such utility. He just couldn't bring himself to believe that my talent could actually outclass his. "Pretentious," Kwang Dao muttered, determined to see what I was capable of once they reached the deep grasslands. Ahead, I ignored my followers, focusing on the quest. I consumed dozens of Hunter's Potions, stacking the 20% damage buff for 100 minutes. The players trailing behind me started noticing the trail of empty potion bottles I was leaving in my wake. They looked stunned by my sheer extravagance, probably wondering if I'd been handed these potions for free by the quest giver. They started whispering, convinced that if I was burning through these like water, the final quest rewards had to be legendary. Their desire to kill me and loot the rewards reached a breaking point. Armor-piercing arrow. I fired, piercing a three-legged bug's skull. Minus 472. Killed LV3 three-legged bug, EXP plus 30. As more bugs swarmed, I kite them, using double shot to drop another. When cornered, I used a teleportation scroll to vanish, reappearing 40 meters away to finish the last bug with precision shot. The process was flawless. Quang Dao's group arrived to find 8 corpses, stunned by my solo efficiency. Quang Dao's sense of superiority shattered, though he coldly reminded his team that I was still just one person. I cleared the path until I reached the quest coordinates. I found a rocky slope littered with broken arrows and bloodstains. You discovered combat traces left by Hunter Luoan. I followed the red trail to a broken hunting bow. Description: Hunter Luoan's weapon, snapped by a powerful monster. I realized a boss-level creature was nearby. As I advanced, I slaughtered more bugs, my EXP bar nearing level 4. A low howl echoed from the slope. A dozen larger, black, three-legged bugs emerged from the grass. Their eyes glowed blood red, and they drooled foul-smelling saliva. LV4 bloodthirsty three-legged bug, excellent grade. HP 800/800. ATK 80. Def 35. Skills: leg sweep, bloodthirsty charge, bloodthirsty swarm. The spectators were horrified, certain that even Quang Dao's team couldn't survive such an ambush. Quang Dao watched intently, excited. If Night God died here, the hidden quest might reset. They could potentially take over or loot his drops. Since death in God's domain costs lifespan and items, Quang Dao told his team to wait until Night God was weak. He didn't care about saving him, only the rewards. A dozen bloodthirsty three-legged bugs surrounded me, but I didn't break a sweat. Fine-grade monsters? The rewards should be good. As they charged, I tapped my teleportation scroll and vanished. I reappeared 20 meters away, only to find 3 of them already locked onto my position, lunging again. Aggro locking? Smart, I noted. I drew my bow, firing a precision shot combined with an armor-piercing arrow. It struck a bug's eye for 702 damage, critical, depleting its health. I finished it with a basic attack and watched my EXP climb by 60. A fine-grade bloodthirsty claw dropped into my inventory. As the rest of the pack swarmed, one used bloodthirsty charge, slamming straight into my chest. I was too slow to dodge, and my health bar took a 76-point hit. My health plummeted. Onlookers cheered, convinced I was finished. Quang Dao prepared to strike, but I calmly chugged 3 life potions in a row, instantly refilling my health. The crowd was stunned by my extravagance. Quang Dao's face darkened. I treated my infinite supply of potions like water. Double shot. 2 arrows struck another bug for 231 and 520 critical damage. I kite the bugs, firing relentlessly. I burned through teleportation scrolls, life potions, and mana potions without hesitation. After a few minutes, the last bug fell. I leveled up to 4, gaining stats and skill points, which I dumped into agility. The onlookers were speechless at my kiting skills. Suddenly, the ground shook as a massive, bloodthirsty insect king, level 5, rare boss, emerged, chewing on a hunter's jacket. It stared at me with blood-red eyes. The boss boasted 12,000 HP and high attack stats. Its skills included Bloodthirsty Bite, Wild Roar, King's Call, and Berserk. The players were terrified, calling it impossible for current players. A rare boss could one-shot any player at this stage. Everyone thought I was doomed, but Quang Dao grew greedy. He saw a chance to steal the kill if the boss and Night God weakened each other. Quang Dao ordered his team to prepare to strike once the boss's health was low. The team grew frantic with greed over the potential rare drops. I heard them and scoffed. The boss lunged, but I teleported. Realizing the boss was too fast, I consumed agility and strength potions. The onlookers were shocked by my wealth, as if I were burning gold coins for warmth. I fired a precision shot and armor-piercing arrow, dealing 632 damage. The boss retaliated with Wild Roar. I was hit with a 20% speed debuff. I narrowed my eyes. The boss struck, sending me flying and leaving me near death. The crowd cheered, and Quang Dao prepared to move. Before landing, I chugged a handful of potions to top off my health. I teleported away, making sure to mock the boss on my way out. It summoned 6 more bugs, but I dispatched them before they could even blink. Kwang Dao, terrified I'd hoard all the rewards, finally decided to make his move. Move in. Kwang Dao and his team charged the boss. Night God, this isn't yours alone. I replied calmly, sure. I could tell my easy agreement had Kwang Dao completely confused. Ignoring his own bewilderment, he rushed the boss to secure the final hit. The boss, already plenty enraged by me, swiped at the newcomer instead. Kwang Dao was instantly killed, losing 5 years of lifespan. The remaining team members froze in horror, stunned that their A-rank teammate was one-shot. The 4-man squad fled in terror, regretting their greed. The bloodthirsty insect king tore through them, and within seconds, for white lights signaled their total annihilation. I watched the beast, calm and unbothered, mostly because I was too busy calculating the loot drop rates to feel any real sense of urgency. Provoked, the bloodthirsty insect king locked its scarlet eyes onto me and lunged, shattering the ground beneath it. The beast moved like a streak of blood. Despite my retreat, the distance closed rapidly. Random teleport. I vanished, leaving the beast to strike empty air. Reappearing 60 meters away, I immediately drew my windwalk bow. Armor-piercing arrow. The projectile struck the beast's flank for 521 damage. As the beast charged again, I retreated while consuming a potion. Double shot. 2 arrows hit for 238 and 536, critical, damage, steadily draining the boss's health. At the number 9527 Novice Village, Kwang Dao materialized at the Resurrection Plaza, trembling and pale. It felt too real, he muttered, still haunted by the image of the insect king crushing his skull. Fear gripped him as a notification appeared. Death penalty, 5 years of lifespan deducted. Remaining, 96 years. 5 years for one death, he gasped. In God's domain, while leveling grants longevity, dying to bosses exacts a heavy toll. The penalty scales with the boss's strength, leaving Kwang Dao shaken. At the rocky slope, the battle reached a fever pitch. At 1/3 health, the insect king entered a berserk state, plus 30% attack, /move speed, plus 10% damage taken. I activated Wind Walk and Precision Shot. An arrow pierced the beast's left eye for 1,386 damage, weak point plus critical. The boss shrieked as its health plummeted. I pressed the attack until the berserk state faded, wondering if my own heart rate was trying to set a new world record. I combined a damage potion with an armor-piercing arrow, firing a shot that pierced the beast's throat. The boss collapsed, dead. Successfully killed LV5 Bloodthirsty Insect King, rare. Rewards included the Insect King leather armor, 1,000 EXP, 5 silver, 10 skill points, and a level up to LV5. A village-wide announcement declared Night God the first to slay a rare boss. As the first to kill a rare boss in the village, I received 20 reputation and a random rare grade skill book. The village erupted in shock. Kwang Dao, hearing the news, felt the crushing weight of the gap between him and Night God. I, ignoring the chatter, checked my inventory. Infinite Insect King leather armor, silver, and rare skill books. It was a hoard that made me look less like a player and more like a walking, breathing loot crate. I equipped the rare Insect King leather armor. My stats jumped, plus 300 HP, plus 35 defense, plus 10 agility, and a 10% reduction in damage from beasts. Not a bad trade for my dignity. I turned my attention to the rare skill books. I needed crowd control or a survival tool, unless I wanted my next fight to be my last. I cracked open a random rare skill book and waited to see if luck was on my side. Congratulations. You obtained the Archer skill, Storm Arrow Rain. Level, LV1. Effect, deals 120% physical damage to all enemies within a 10-meter radius. Cost, 80 mana. Cooldown, 30 seconds. I was thrilled. I finally had an efficient AoE skill. I used another book. Congratulations. You obtained the Archer skill, Shadow Assault Arrow. Effect, deals 180% physical damage. Hitting a weak point adds an extra 100% physical damage. Cost, 60 mana. Cooldown, 12 seconds. I used a third book. Congratulations. You obtained the Archer skill, Wind Protection. Level, LV1. Effect, creates a shield absorbing 50% of max HP and increases movement speed by 20% for 15 seconds. Cost: 100 mana. Cooldown: 60 seconds. With this defensive skill, my survivability improved significantly. I used more books, converting duplicates into proficiency. Storm Arrow Rain proficiency plus 500. Level increased to LV2. Shadow Assault Arrow proficiency plus 500. Level increased to LV2. Wind Protection proficiency plus 500. Level increased to LV3. Within minutes, all skills reached LV10. Storm Arrow Rain. LV10 deals 260% physical damage to enemies within a 20-meter radius. Cost: 160 mana. Cooldown: 20 seconds. LV10 trait. Each kill refunds 5 seconds of cooldown, max 20 seconds. Shadow Assault Arrow, LV10. Effect: deals 360% physical damage. Weak point hits add an extra 240% physical damage. Cost: 120 mana. Cooldown: 8 seconds. LV10 trait. Guaranteed critical hit upon hitting a weak point. Wind Protection, rare grade. Level: LV10 effect, active skill. Creates a wind shield absorbing damage equal to 200% of max HP and increases movement speed by 45% for 20 seconds. Cost: 180 mana. Cooldown: 45 seconds. LV10 trait. Immune to the first crowd control effect while the shield is active. Finally, time to return to the village. I used a town portal scroll. 10 seconds later, I arrived at Novice Village number 9527. The village was in an uproar over the Night God's rare boss kill. Players were shocked, especially since Kwang Dao's team had been wiped out by the boss. Speculation about Night God's talent ran wild, with many guessing it was SS rank. Kwang Dao stood in a corner, pale and silent. The boss had not only cost him 5 years of lifespan, but had shattered his arrogance. The terrifying realism of death made him fear risking his life. Meanwhile, I approached Eileen and handed her her father's blood-stained coat. She wept, realizing her father was gone. Village Chief Hua In arrived, mourning the loss of a good hunter and father. The chief addressed me. "Young traveler, you have completed my commission and removed a great threat from our village. Hidden quest, missing hunter completed. Rating, perfect. You killed the bloodthirsty dog king, fulfilling extra objectives. Rewards, 2000 EXP, 30 reputation, 10 silver, hunter's badge, rare, and village chief's recommendation letter. Hunter's badge, rare special accessory. Plus 100 HP, plus 15 agility, plus 10% damage against beasts. Badge added to inventory. Quantity, infinite. I equipped the badge, boosting my stats, and wondered about the letter. Village Chief's recommendation letter, special item. Effect: allows you to initiate the first job transfer quest at the main city's job transfer hall upon reaching LV10. Perfect completion increases the chance of triggering a rare job route. I noted this. Reaching LV10 required a job transfer. Without a transfer, leveling stops. While basic quests are available to everyone, hidden or rare jobs require specific conditions. This letter was my ticket. The chief said, "Night God, you have proven your strength. Once you reach LV10, head to Blackstone City for your first job transfer. However, you must accumulate enough reputation to go further." I asked about reputation. The chief explained it signifies the world's recognition, helping to attract powerful NPCs and access the reputation shop. In the main city, reputation unlocks limited supplies, high-level quests, and special job routes. I checked my status, 50 reputation total. Ding! Reputation reached 50. Novice Village number 9527 reputation shop unlocked. The shop interface appeared, featuring items like skill upgrade scrolls, equipment chests, dungeon locators, and a longevity fruit. The longevity fruit left me stunned. In God's domain, lifespan is the only currency that truly matters. I decided to buy it immediately. Purchased primary longevity fruit, rare, for 30 reputation and 10 silver. Quantity, infinite. I ate the first fruit and gained 5 years. I quickly realized I could consume 10 of these for a total of 50 years. I didn't hesitate. I ate them all. Current lifespan, 156 years. Most players lost years upon death. I had accumulated a massive surplus. With an infinite supply on tap, I was effectively immortal in God's domain. I followed that up by purchasing the low-level dungeon positioning scroll for 20 reputation and 5 silver. Dungeon locator scroll added to inventory. Quantity infinite. Effect: locates a dungeon suitable for your level. I used the scroll. It flew northwest, revealing the Mirror Lake Ruins, LV5, LV8. Dungeon, Mirror Lake Ruins. Capacity, 1 to 3. Entry fee, 1 silver. I laughed at the entry fee, unbothered by the cost thanks to my infinite resources. I headed toward the dungeon. I cleared mobs along the way, using Shadow Assault Arrow for singles and Storm Arrow Rain for groups, dealing 260% damage. Killed LV3, three-legged bug. EXP plus 30. Killed LV3, three-legged bug. EXP plus 30. Cooldown reset. 10 minutes later, I reached the fog-covered lake. The lake was eerily still, with an ancient structure submerged in the center. Reached Mirror Lake Ruins. Consume 1 silver to enter? I agreed. A water mirror portal opened, pulling me inside. Entered dungeon, Mirror Lake Ruins. Difficulty, normal. Objective: ignite 3 lake towers and defeat the Mirror Lake Guardian. I stood on a stone bridge over dark water. My reflection stared back with a stiff, eerie grin. Honestly, I've seen better expressions on a wooden puppet. Ignoring it, I moved forward and found a guide lake lantern for sale. Using my infinite silver, I bought an infinite supply and illuminated the dark bridge. I discovered a hidden path that would have been invisible without the light. A few meters later, 3 LV5 drowned wraiths emerged. They attempted a grievous shriek, but my wind protection rendered me immune to the crowd control. I retaliated with Storm Arrow Rain. The 3 drowned wraiths were shredded by the dense volley of arrows, with one being instantly killed. The remaining 2 were quickly finished off with basic attacks. I gained experience and wraith water orbs, which were added to my infinite inventory. The cooldown for Storm Arrow Rain reset, prompting me to continue clearing every monster in my path until I reached the first tower. A massive, seaweed-draped monstrosity stood guard over the tower. It was a LV6 algae stone statue. Its stats were a headache, 6,000 HP and enough physical defense to make me sigh. I drew my Gale longbow without hesitation. I fired a Shadow Assault Arrow, which struck a crack in the statue's chest. The hit triggered a critical strike, carving a massive chunk out of its health bar. The statue's health plummeted. A follow-up, armor-piercing arrow finished it off. I ignited the first tower, revealing a second hidden path. I realized the dungeon required heavy resource consumption, but my infinite supplies made it trivial, a bit like bringing a cannon to a knife fight, really. As I crossed the next bridge, Mirror Lake wraiths emerged, but their dragging attempts were shattered by my wind protection. I unleashed Storm Arrow Rain without looking back. The skill's cooldown reset upon kills, making it a god-tier ability. I marveled at the efficiency of raining endless arrows upon my foes. I continued forward, obliterating every monster that dared to surface. I arrived at the second tower, where a giant water mirror stood. As I approached, the mirror generated a reflection of me. A perfect copy, the ultimate mirror copy knight god, stepped out of the glass. Its stats were hidden. It possessed a portion of my attributes, gear, and skills. The copy mimicked my Storm Arrow Rain. I dodged by using a teleportation scroll. I countered with Shadow Assault Arrow, but the copy also used a scroll to evade. The copy mimicked my combat habits, but I knew one thing it couldn't replicate: my unique talent for making questionable tactical decisions under pressure. I drank a health potion. The copy tried to do the same, but its resources were limited. As the fight dragged on, the copy's movements faltered. I fired a Shadow Assault Arrow. The copy, out of scrolls, failed to dodge and took heavy damage. I followed up with Storm Arrow Rain, pinning the copy down. I finished it with a triple burst combo of Precision Shot, Armor-Piercing Arrow, and Shadow Assault Arrow. The copy shattered, dropping experience and mirror shadow fragments. These fragments were rare materials for crafting or special quests. I also obtained the Reflection Mark. It was a unique, non-replicable item required to ignite the second tower. I ignited the tower, but the lake began to quake. A warning flashed. The lake's pollution level had reached 30%, awakening deeper threats. I really do have a knack for picking the most inconvenient moments to trigger a catastrophe. If pollution hit 100%, the final boss would awaken in an empowered state. Realizing the time pressure, I used Wind Walk and Speed Potions to dash toward the third tower, clearing mobs with continuous Storm Arrow Rain. The stone path behind me was soon buried under a mountain of monster remains. I collected infinite pollution crystals. At the third tower, I needed to submit specific materials to ignite it. Thanks to my infinite inventory, I completed the requirement instantly. The 3 towers ignited, revealing a crystal palace in the center of the lake. The final area unlocked, and the Mirror Lake Guardian began to stir. The palace gates groaned open. A tall figure stepped out, decked in silver armor and brandishing a crystal spear. It was the LV-8 Mirror Lake Guardian, a rare-grade boss. It specialized in damage reflection and creating clones. Being 3 levels higher than the previous boss, it was a dangerous encounter. One mistake could lead to self-inflicted death. The Guardian activated Water Mirror Reflection, creating a shield that reflected ranged damage. I tested it with a basic arrow. The arrow was reflected, dealing damage to me. I realized the reflection was 50%. I dodged the Guardian's Mirror Spear thrust and noticed 3 faint blue runes on its back, which was a surprisingly convenient place for a boss to keep its off switch. These runes matched the patterns on the lake towers. I realized I could use the dungeon materials to pollute the runes and disable the reflection. I submitted the required items, successfully nullifying the boss's shield for 60 seconds. I seized the window, firing a shadow assault arrow. It struck a critical weak point. The enraged Guardian trapped me in a lake prison, but I tanked the damage with potions and wind protection until the prison shattered. I unleashed another Storm Arrow Rain, suppressing the boss. As the boss's health dropped below 70%, it split into 3 clones. I split into 2 reflection clones, each holding half my stats. When 3 Mirror Lake Guardians locked onto me with Mirror Spear thrusts, I ignored the clones and focused on my main body. I retreated, unloading a barrage, Shadow Assault Arrow, Armor-Piercing Arrow, Double Shot, and Storm Arrow Rain. As the boss dipped below 30% health, it tried to cast Water Mirror Reflection. I dumped materials into the rune to corrupt it, watching the spell shatter. "Your mechanics are broken," I declared, landing a critical Shadow Assault arrow for 6,420 damage. The boss tried to retreat and attack a treasure chest to tank my rewards. I wasn't having it. I activated Wind Walk and put a final, lethal arrow through its head. Experience, Silver, Reputation, and Level 7, all mine. I reached Level 7, triggering a system announcement across Novice Village number 9527. The system broadcast that Night God had achieved the first clear of the Mirror Lake ruins in 37 minutes and 42 seconds with a perfect rating, officially setting the dungeon leaderboard. Night God, Huaxia, claimed the top spot, netting me 30 reputation and a rare-grade dungeon treasure chest. The village square went dead silent, then erupted. Everyone else was still fumbling around in the wild, and here I was, clearing dungeons. Players were baffled, scouring their maps and wondering how I'd even found the Mirror Lake ruins in the first place. Speculation swirled that I'd soloed the whole thing. Huang Dao, still stuck at level 3, looked particularly miserable about the gap. Then, the system dropped a new announcement. The auction house was opening early. Players could now freely trade equipment, materials, skills, and items within the safe zone. Trading currencies included copper, silver, reputation vouchers, and lifespan crystals. Players were ignited by the prospect of a real economic system, debating the value of lifespan crystals. I saw the auction house as the perfect opportunity. I possessed an abundance of resources. I considered listing Insect King leather armor, hunter badges, and skill books. To avoid crashing the market, I decided to control the supply, slowly raising prices to maximize profit. I then opened the perfect clear chest, obtaining the Mirror Lake Ring, rare, which granted spirit, agility, cooldown reduction, and a control immunity chance. Thanks to my infinite backpack, I now had an infinite supply, which is a great way to ensure I never actually have to organize my inventory. A second item appeared, a skill book. It was the rare grade skill, Mirror Image Substitute. The skill allowed the user to create a clone to absorb fatal damage while teleporting 20 meters away. With a 10-minute cooldown and no class restrictions, this was a god-tier survival skill. I now had an infinite supply. I turned my attention to the final item. It was the Mirror Lake Pass, a special item that allowed direct teleportation to the dungeon entrance. I now had an infinite supply of these passes. I realized I could not only farm the dungeon indefinitely, but also sell entry tickets to other players, effectively becoming a glorified toll booth operator. I could charge other teams for access, turning my advantage into a massive profit stream. I also considered using my infinite low-level dungeon positioning scrolls to monopolize other areas. However, I reconsidered. Since my currency was already infinite, my only real need was more lifespan. I listed 10 bottles of basic life potions for 1 silver, which sold instantly. I then listed the rare grade Insect King leather armor, setting the price to 1 lifespan crystal to test the market's willingness to trade life for power. The market went silent when I dropped a rare grade item into the listings. I watched the Insect King leather armor sit there, boasting massive health, defense, and agility bonuses. I knew exactly what the other players were thinking. Whoever wore this would dominate the early game. It wasn't just gear to me. It was a survival necessity I'd managed to secure. Confusion erupted over the lifespan crystal currency, with everyone questioning the cost of trading their own life for my armor. One player noted that better gear meant dying less often. The realization hit. In God's domain, death costs years of lifespan. Saving even 1 death made the crystal worth it. I watched as the players quickly deduced the mechanics behind my move. Players could consume 1 year of their own lifespan to create a lifespan crystal, which could be traded or reabsorbed to restore 1 year of life. With a daily absorption limit of 10 crystals, the player base went wild. Kwang Dao stared intensely at the Insect King leather armor in the auction house, his breathing ragged. As a warrior with an A-rank talent, he lacked defensive capabilities. He gulped, desperate to acquire the gear. Was trading 1 year of his lifespan for a rare grade item worth it? Absolutely, yet he hesitated. It was his life, after all. Suddenly, a notification flashed. Insect King leather armor, rare, sold. The village erupted. Players debated if the price was worth it. Kwang Dao turned pale, slamming a wooden pillar in regret. He realized he had missed a crucial opportunity to gain a competitive edge. Inside the Mirror Lake ruins, I received the notification. The armor had sold for a lifespan crystal, which entered my infinite backpack. Lifespan crystal quantity, infinite. I was stunned. I had traded the armor for infinite lifespan. With a fixed gain of 60 years per day, my potential was limitless. I began absorbing the crystals, reaching 168 years of lifespan on the first day. I realized I had broken the game's economy, which was a surprisingly easy feat for someone who usually struggles to balance a simple checkbook. I decided to control the flow of goods rather than flooding the market, listing potions at double the price, which sold instantly. I knew that as players continued to die, the demand and price for potions would only rise. Survivors, terrified of death, would hoard these supplies. I recalled Kwang Dao's pathetic death. While back at the village, players scrambled over the sold-out potions. Players begged for archer gear and skill books, desperate to stop grinding and level up. The atmosphere grew frantic as players realized that without skills, death was inevitable. They finally understood that in God's domain, resources were everything. A priest named Bai stepped forward, proposing a temporary organization to pool resources and compete against top players like Night God. Players listened intently, questioning his intent to form a guild. Bai made it clear, our alliance was strictly temporary. Our goal was simple enough: grind for resources and hit level 10 to clear the first-class advancement. That advancement was the only way to secure a real foothold in Novice Village number 9527. Kwang Dao tagged along, trading his A-rank talent for dibs on warrior gear. Bai agreed, though he insisted that loot would be distributed based on contribution. Having died once, Kwang Dao prioritized steady growth. Inside the ruins, I checked my rewards, including a rare-grade random dungeon chest that, like everything else, had become infinite. I opened the chest. Rare grade dungeon reset ticket obtained. It allowed resetting cleared dungeons 3 times daily. Dungeon reset ticket quantity, infinite. With infinite passes and resets, the ruins were now my personal resource mine. I could farm them indefinitely. While the rewards were low level, they were still valuable. I continued opening chests. Mirror Lake Material Pack, rare, obtained. Material Pack quantity, infinite. Rare grade Enhancement Stone asterisk 3 obtained. Enhancement Stone quantity, infinite. My eyes lit up. These were vital for boosting gear stats. I knew that stronger gear was essential, despite the risk of failure during the enhancement process. I, possessing infinite enhancement stones, treated them like a game. I upgraded my fine-grade Gale longbow repeatedly. By +5, it gained 5% attack speed. By +10, it reached +45 physical attack, +10 agility, and +20% attack speed. The weapon also gained the Gale Arrow effect, a 10% chance for normal attacks to trigger an extra wind blade dealing 50% physical damage. I was satisfied with the absurd stats of my fine-grade weapon, which was probably a balance nightmare for the developers. I exited the Mirror Lake ruins, where a mysterious NPC, Manhua, appeared. Holding a blue lantern, the old man recognized my connection to the lake. Manhua is a special merchant who only trades with players who achieve a perfect clear of the Mirror Lake ruins. Realizing this was a hidden reward, I approached the merchant. Manhua acknowledged my feat of lighting the beacons and defeating the Guardian, unlocking the Lake Lantern shop. Items included the Advanced Guiding Lake Lamp and the Mirror Lake Secret Key. The Secret Key is a rare grade item used to unlock hidden areas within the ruins. The shop also offered a fragmented class change clue of unknown grade for 300 silver and 30 reputation. My eyes narrowed at the clue. I was nearing level 10 and needed this, though I suspect the game developers enjoy watching me scramble for scraps. I checked my status. Having earned 10 reputation from the Guardian and 30 from the first clear bonus, I had 40 total. I could afford it. Despite Manhua's warning that the Forbidden Hunter path was dangerous, I purchased the clue. The item was added to my inventory as a special quest lead, the Forbidden Hunter in Mirror Lake. The system prompted me to bring the clue and the village chief's recommendation letter to the Blackstone City class change hall upon reaching level 10. Excited by the prospect of the Forbidden Hunter class, I received a friend request from Bai He. Bai He, representing the Novice Village number 9527 Temporary Alliance, wanted to buy potions and equipment. I saw an opportunity to profit from an organized group rather than individual players, provided they offered something valuable. A business model that usually ends with me being chased by an angry mob, but I accepted the request anyway. Bai He came back, still begging to buy my resources. I agreed to hear him out, but I wanted to know exactly what he was offering in return. Bai He explained that without supplies, many players wouldn't survive to level 3 due to the high death rate. He offered a mountain of silver, but I laughed it off. I didn't need his pocket change, and watching his jaw drop at my lack of interest in silver was worth the conversation alone. It finally hit him. While everyone else was scraping by for copper, I had already outgrown silver entirely. Bai He asked what I wanted instead. I checked my inventory and realized I was starving for reputation, the one resource I couldn't just grind out or buy off a shelf. I knew reputation would be the gatekeeper for future class changes, hidden shops, and getting NPCs to actually talk to me instead of ignoring my existence. I demanded reputation vouchers, quest clues, insider information, and lifespan crystals. Bai He balked at the mention of lifespan, but I reminded him that scarcity dictates value. We spent the next hour haggling over potions, skill books, and gear until we reached a deal. I offered an initial batch, 500 life potions, 500 mana potions, and 100 antidote potions. The total price was 11 lifespan crystals, with 10 town portal scrolls included as a bonus. Bai He agreed immediately, valuing the scrolls highly. Back at the village square, Bai He informed the alliance leaders, including Quang Dao, that the deal was secured. He listed the items: 500 life, 500 mana, 100 antidote potions, and 10 scrolls. The crowd was stunned by the sheer volume of resources, which far exceeded normal player capabilities. Bai He revealed the cost: 11 lifespan crystals. The mood shifted as the price of lifespan hit home. He offered priority access to those willing to contribute their lifespan. Those who refused could remain peripheral members. He emphasized that resources weren't free. Players began stepping forward to contribute, and the 11 crystals were collected. I received them, my own supply remaining infinite. A rather convenient perk for someone who usually struggles to keep track of his own pockets. For me, the trade was less about the crystals and more about establishing a network. One person cannot cover the vastness of God's domain alone. Building an intelligence network was my true long-term goal. He distributed the supplies. Huang Dao received his share, but was disappointed that no equipment was included. He explained that I was charging at least 10 lifespan crystals for rare-grade gear. Huang Dao was shocked. The price was 10 times higher than the Insect King leather armor he had previously seen. 10 coins. Is he robbing me? He muttered, but I remained silent. I retreated to the outskirts of the novice village, staking out a quiet corner of Mantis Slope to audit my own stats. My skills were all capped at level 10, but I needed more to plug the holes in my cooldowns. I had to make sure my combat rotation didn't have a single stutter. I hauled out a stack of rare-grade random class skill books. I cracked one open and landed an archer skill, Concussion Arrow. Concussion Arrow, rare, deals 150% physical damage with a 30% chance to stun for 1 second. A solid piece of crowd control. I burned another book and pulled Mark Prey. Mark Prey, rare, marks a target, increasing damage dealt to them by 15% for 30 seconds. I didn't stop there. I popped a third book and walked away with Trap Setting. Trap Setting, rare, deploys a simple restraint trap that slows and briefly immobilizes the target. This was excellent. Unlike other archers, I didn't need to worry about the material costs for these traps. This skill would be invaluable for defending points or fighting in dungeons. I used remaining books to max out my new skills to level 10. Concussion Arrow, rare, LV10, 240% damage, 80% stun chance for 2 seconds. Mark Prey, rare, LV10, marks target for 60 seconds, increasing damage dealt by 35%. Trap Setting, rare, LV10, can deploy up to 20 traps simultaneously, causing 3-second immobilization and 50% slow. I was satisfied. My combat system, burst, AoE, defense, control, and buffs, was now complete. I laughed, proud of my progress, but realized I still needed a rare-grade bow to replace my fine-grade Gale longbow, which was starting to feel like a toothpick in a forest fire. I realized I had the materials and the funds to have one custom crafted. Returning to the village, I ignored players arguing over the value of lifespan crystals in real-world currency. Players debated whether real money still held value, but the argument was irrelevant to me. As I approached the blacksmith shop, players swarmed me, begging for gear or leveling help. I ignored them and entered. The blacksmith, Baru, noted the scent of blood on me, recognizing I had faced true danger. I presented a bloodthirsty Insect King crystal core, mirror shadow fragments, a pollution crystal, and a stone statue core. Can you forge a bow with these? Baru's eyes widened at the sight of the rare materials. He recognized the high-tier components immediately. These are incredibly rare. How did you get them? I simply asked if he could forge the bow. Baru twitched. I can try, but the failure rate is high due to the conflicting properties. I insisted he keep trying until successful. Baru was stunned by my recklessness. Do you even have enough materials? I paid the fees up front and ordered him to begin. Baru, thinking me a madman, started the forge. A prototype bow began to form in the flames, but it failed. The materials were destroyed. I immediately produced another set. After 5 consecutive failures, Baru was sweating from the sheer audacity of the waste. He couldn't fathom how I possessed so many rare materials. On the 7th attempt, the forge glowed with blood-silver light. Success! I obtained the Mirror Blood Hunting Bow. Mirror Blood Hunting Bow, rare, LV7, plus 85 physical attack, plus 25 agility, plus 8% crit, plus 15% attack speed. Effect: Hunt Blood, 20% extra damage to targets below 30% HP. Effect: Mirror Shadow Pursuit, 10% chance to trigger an extra 80% damage arrow on weak point hits. I immediately used rare grade enhancement stones to upgrade it to plus 10. Mirror Blood Hunting Bow plus 10, plus 160 physical attack, plus 45 agility, plus 15% crit, plus 30% attack speed. Hunt blood enhancement, 35% damage to targets below 40% HP. Mirror shadow pursuit enhancement, 25% chance to trigger 120% damage arrow. Effect, blood mirror strike, every 60 seconds. The next weak point hit is guaranteed to trigger mirror shadow pursuit. Baru was speechless, finally asking, "Young man, does your family own a mine?" I turned to leave, but Baru stopped me, looking embarrassed as he made a request. I paused when a notification chimed. You have gained the recognition of Blacksmith Baru. Reputation with Blacksmith Balu plus 20. You triggered the hidden quest, the Blacksmith's Ambition. Quest. Balu wants to craft a rare grade piece to prove his skill. Submit required rare grade materials. Reward. Reputation plus 15. Blacksmith Shop's special forging access, and 1 unknown blueprint. My eyes lit up. My recent spending had left me with only 10 points, and I was desperate for more. I was critically low on reputation. Triggering a hidden quest through forging was a stroke of luck. Is there anything I can do for you? I asked. Balu hesitated. The materials you showed earlier were rare. You must be an exceptional traveler. I want to craft a masterpiece of my own, but I need your help gathering materials. I won't take them for free, I replied. Balu requested 1 Bloodthirsty Dog King Crystal Core, 10 Mirror Shadow Fragments, 10 Pollution Crystals, and 10 Statue Cores. Balu felt guilty, knowing these materials would bankrupt an average squad, but I calmly produced the entire set from my inventory. Balu was stunned, realizing he had spent 30 years smithing for nothing. After a 10-minute wait, a burst of light erupted from the forge. Hidden quest, the Blacksmith's Ambition completed. Reputation plus 15, Blacksmith Shop special forging access granted. Received blueprint, Blood Mirror Quiver, rare grade. I was thrilled. Blood Mirror Quiver, rare grade blueprint. Type, offhand equipment. Requirements, 5 Mirror Shadow Fragments, 10 Bloodthirsty Dog Bones, 3 Pollution Crystals, 50 Silver Coins. Effect, chance to inflict bleed on weak point hits. Increases arrow flight speed. This offhand gear was invaluable for an archer. Balu emerged, sweating but ecstatic, holding a blood silver quiver. The quiver featured mirror-like patterns and a dark red glow. Blood Mirror Quiver, rare grade. Level 7, agility plus 20, crit rate plus 5%, arrow speed plus 20%. Effect, blood trace. Weak point hits inflict bleed, dealing 20% physical damage per second for 5 seconds. Balu gifted the item to me in gratitude. I equipped it, activating my offhand slot and boosting my output. Not bad, I remarked. Balu smiled, but his expression froze as I pulled out a pile of rare grade enhancement stones. You're enhancing it already? Balu asked, twitching. I simply placed the stones on the counter, acting as if I hadn't just emptied my entire inventory for a minor upgrade. Blood Mirror Quiver plus 10, agility plus 40, crit rate plus 10%, arrow speed plus 40%. Enhanced blood trace. Weak point hits deal 35% physical damage per second for 6 seconds. Effect, Hunting Quiver. Kills increase attack speed by 30% for the next shot. I reviewed my gear. Mirror Blood Hunting Bow plus 10, Blood Mirror Quiver plus 10, Insect King Leather Armor, and Mirror Lake Ring. With maxed skills and infinite resources, my power was overwhelming. Nickname, Night God, Level 7, Fizz ATK, 328, Agility, 126, Crit, 40%. My stats were unfathomable to other players. A typical level 7 archer had 80 attack. I had 328. I stepped out of the shop, feeling like a walking math error in a world that supposedly followed rules. Players stared at my glowing blood silver bow and dark red quiver. The gear effects were impossible to hide. Kwang Dao watched with envy, while Bai He approached, asking for a second batch of supplies. I demanded double the price. The first batch was a discount. This is the standard price, I stated coldly. Bai He was stunned, but offered information to offset the cost. We found an abandoned mine in Trance. There's a black ore there, identified as fine grade. I inspected a sample of black vein iron Oregon. It became infinite in my inventory. I agreed to the trade, warning Bai He that I wouldn't accept the same material twice. Second batch, 1,000 life potions, 1,000 mana potions, 200 antidote potions, 200 hemostatic potions, 20 town portal scrolls. Price: 20 lifespan crystals, plus 3 unique fine grade or higher items or clues I haven't seen before. Why he was stunned by the list. Night God's resources were far beyond the initial batch. 1,000 life potions and 1,000 mana potions were enough to sustain dozens of teams. Deal. Why he gritted his teeth. The trade was completed. Congratulations. You received 20 lifespan crystals. Quantity set to infinite. Received amethyst, fine grade, *1, quantity set to infinite. Received heavenly insect grass, fine grade, *1, quantity set to infinite. Pleasure doing business. I arrived at the Mirror Lake Ruins entrance and burned a dungeon reset ticket. Twice. I wasn't here for a sightseeing tour anymore. I was here for a speed run. I loosed an arrow, and a flash of silver light detonated across the lake. The drowned wraiths crawled out, only to be instantly shredded by the mirror shadow pursuit my arrow had triggered. Killed LV5 drowned wraith. Storm arrow rain cooldown reset. I activated Wind Walk and began my harvest. Within 45 minutes, I cleared the dungeon 3 times, killing the Mirror Lake Guardian each time. I reached LV10, gaining +1 to all attributes, +5 free attribute points, +3 skill points, and +3 years of lifespan. My current lifespan reached 169 years. With the level cap reached, I needed to complete a class transfer. The village leaderboard updated. Rank 1, Night God, LV10. The village fell into a stunned silence, followed by chaos. I, ready to leave for Blackstone City, exited the ruins. Manhua, the merchant, noted my aura had deepened and gifted me a special item. Incomplete lake lamp. Description: an old lamp used by Manhua in his youth. It can still guide the way to hidden paths. Additional note: carrying this into Blackstone City may help locate individuals connected to Mirror Lake. I realized I'd just stumbled onto a hidden plot hook connecting the dungeon to the main city. Thanks. Manhua waved me off, remarking he hadn't seen such a strong descender in years. Before I could react, Manhua continued. There are many class instructors in the Blackstone City Job Transfer Hall. If you seek the Forbidden Hunter from Mirror Lake, find a woman named Selena. She was once a hunter, but her shadow remains trapped in the lake. I noted the name. When warned that following this path might lead to hatred, I laughed. I only hate that the rewards aren't high enough. I then used a town portal scroll. I returned to Novice Village number 9527. The village was in an uproar over my top ranking. He was second at LV5, and Kwang Dao third at LV4. The rest of the top 10 hovered around LV4, highlighting my massive lead. Players speculated wildly about my leveling speed, wondering if I was a game developer's plant. When I appeared, the crowd parted. He approached, asking to buy Mirror Lake Pass items. I offered 3 at 10 lifespan crystals each. The price caused a collective gasp. 10 years of life for a single entry was extortionate. I remained unmoved, noting I was the sole source of the passes and the entrance location. I pointed out that while I took the first clear rewards, the materials and boss drops remained. If they could farm it, the profits would far exceed the cost. He, having already benefited from previous trades, asked if he could pay with information. Speak, I replied. He lowered his voice, mentioning a collection points south of the village. They had stumbled upon a fine-grade herb called moonlight grass. It was a key ingredient for mana and spirit-related potions. I took a sample and watched it vanish into my infinite inventory. I agreed to deduct 5 lifespan crystals from the price of 1 pass. He offered another tip, an abandoned mine east of the village. It held black vein iron ore and a fine-grade boss guarding the depths. They confirmed the presence of rare grade or inside. My interest was piqued. Rare grade, or would be a massive boost to my equipment crafting. I accepted the trade. 5 crystals for the first pass, 10 for the next 2. I further offered a simplified strategy guide for 20 lifespan crystals. The guide covered the 3 lighthouses, lamp usage, the silver key mechanism, and the final boss's reflection damage. He realized the guide was worth more than the pass itself, as it prevented certain death. I need time to gather the crystals, he said, gritting his teeth. I agreed to sell the pass and guide. warning the price would rise after I left the village. He gathered 25 lifespan crystals from his allies to pay. I handed over the pass and a concise guide, stipulating that they must hand over any rare mineral veins they discover later. After reading the guide, he realized the dungeon's difficulty lay in resource management, not just combat. As I prepared to leave, Kwang Dao requested to buy my Insect King leather armor, but I flatly refused. The system then notified me I had reached level 10 and could now depart for Blackstone City. I headed to the village chief, Hua-En, who confirmed I was ready to move on. The chief pointed to the teleportation array, noting the activation fee was 1,000 silver coins. I stepped onto the platform and paid the 1,000 silver coins without hesitation. The surrounding players were stunned by my casual display of wealth, as most struggled to scrape together even a single silver coin. It was almost as if they expected me to be as broke as they were. Players lamented the steep cost, realizing that reaching level 10 was only the first step. The financial barrier was equally daunting. Watching me, the other players felt a mix of envy and awe, wondering how far ahead I would be by the time they finally reached the main city themselves. Chief Hua-En approached me, acknowledging my contributions to the village and offering a final warning. He cautioned me to be wary of other top players, nobles, guilds, and mercenaries in the city. I thanked him, and the chief activated the array. A massive pillar of blue light erupted, and a village-wide announcement declared that Night God had successfully opened the path to Blackstone City. I vanished from the village. A regional announcement broadcasted that Night God was the first player from Village 9527 to enter the main city. I received 50 reputation and the title Novice Village Pioneer, bringing my total reputation to 105. The village erupted in shock at the bonus rewards and the realization that I had truly reached the next stage of the game. As the light faded, I stood before the massive, imposing walls of Blackstone City, guarded by formidable NPCs. The sheer scale of the city and the pressure it exerted felt overwhelming compared to my past gaming experiences. Nearby players were surprised to see a newcomer from an unknown village, especially one equipped with rare grade +10 gear. I ignored the whispers, my confidence growing as I prepared to dominate the new environment. My presence immediately eclipsed the other players in the vicinity. The glowing effects on my bow and quiver were enough to dazzle onlookers, confirming my high-tier gear. Players speculated about my origins, shocked that an archer had reached the city solo. I ignored them and checked the Blackstone City level rankings. The leaderboard showed the top players, all level 10. I debuted at 3rd place. A young man in red robes, Lai Yin Gongzi, approached me with a mocking tone. Lai Yin Gongzi, the top-ranked player, was flanked by 4 others. He was a level 10 mage. Lai Yin Gongzi offered to buy my bow, but I refused. Claiming to be an heir to a major corporation, Lai Yin Gongzi offered 100 million. I countered by asking how many lifespan crystals that could buy, mocking the value of money within the game. When Lai Yin Gongzi called me arrogant, I retorted that he was poor. Lai Yin Gongzi had relied on his S-rank talent and team resources to reach the city first. Insulted, he demanded to know who I thought I was talking to which I replied, a dog. Before Lai Yin Gongzi could retaliate, I used a random teleportation scroll to vanish. At the gate, I presented my Pioneer identity card, paid the 100 silver entry fee, and received a temporary resident badge. I noted that my Blackstone City reputation started at 0, which was fitting for someone who had just spent his last coins on a gate fee. I realized I would need to grind local reputation to access special shops and high-level quests. I wasn't worried, as I possessed superior combat power and resources. I asked a guard for directions to the job transfer hall, then inquired about currency exchange, learning I could trade silver for gold. The city streets were bustling with shops, auction houses, and services. I observed the vibrant, realistic atmosphere. The streets were filled with diverse NPCs, including merchants, mercenaries, and beastkin warriors. The immersion was intense. I visited the exchange office and traded 101 silver for my first gold coin, confirming my infinite backpack worked for gold. It's a strange feeling to be this excited about digital accounting. He learned that purple gold coins were used for high-end transactions by nobles and elites. I immediately exchanged 1,000 gold for a purple gold coin. My infinite backpack updated, making purple gold coins infinite as well. The NPC was stunned, having never seen a newcomer exchange for such high-value currency. A single purple gold coin could buy a mansion in this city. I left the counter as calmly as I could. I could see the NPC wondering if every newcomer was this wealthy. I decided to do some shopping before heading to the job transfer hall. Turns out, burning through an infinite pile of cash is surprisingly satisfying. I bought a stack of fine-grade life potions. I bought a stack of fine-grade mana potions. Effect: restores 500 mana points. Advanced antidote potion I rare grade. Price: 5 gold coins. Effect: removes most toxins below level 30. Gale potion I rare grade. Price: 10 gold coins. Effect: increases agility by 20% for 5 minutes. Eagle Eye potion I rare grade. Price: 10 gold coins. Effect: increases critical hit rate by 10% and attack range by 10% for 5 minutes. The more I looked, the better I felt. These were all items I could put to use, especially the Gale potion and Eagle Eye potion. They would provide a massive boost when paired with my Archer path. 1 bottle of each potion. The potion shop owner's eyes lit up. Are you sure, customer? I'm sure. Obtained infinite quantity. Intermediate life potion, fine grade. Obtained infinite quantity. Intermediate mana potion, fine grade. Obtained infinite quantity. Advanced antidote potion, I rare grade. Obtained infinite quantity. Gale potion, I rare grade. A series of notifications rang out. My backpack resources expanded once again. In fact, my backpack slots had already been expanded to 5,000 long ago, so I didn't need to worry about whether I had enough space. Next, I headed to the scroll shop. Intermediate Town Portal Scroll, fine grade. Price: 2 gold coins. Effect: after exiting combat for 5 seconds, you can return to your currently bound main city. Buy. Intermediate Random Teleportation Scroll, fine grade. Price: 5 gold coins. Effect: randomly teleports you to any location within a 5,000-meter radius. Buy. Low-level Stealth Scroll, E rare grade. Price: 20 gold coins. Effect: enter a stealth state for 30 seconds. Effect ends upon attacking or taking damage. Buy. I bought them all. Low-level Barrier Scroll, I rare grade. Price: 30 gold coins. Effect: generates a defensive barrier that lasts for 1 minute. Buy. I bought everything in my path. Every practical resource available during the main city stage was collected into my backpack. When others visited shops, they were spending money. When I visited shops, I was unlocking an infinite resource catalog. The difference between them was truly massive. I even bought one of everything from the general store, including intermediate appraisal scrolls, blank contracts, temporary mercenary contracts, simple camping tents, and mount feed. Finally, I went to the Adventurers Guild and paid 1 gold to register as a Black Iron Adventurer. I noted the hierarchy of adventurer ranks. Black Iron was the lowest tier. I learned I could promote by completing tasks or submitting rare trophies. I submitted a rare grade Bloodthirsty Dog King Core. The system registered it as infinite, and I was promoted to bronze rank, gaining 10 city reputation. With my promotion secured, I headed toward the White Spire for my job transfer. The hall was packed with level 10 players, all busy whining about how impossible their transfer quests were. Most were looking for the path of least resistance, but I had my own agenda to worry about. I tuned out the noise in the job transfer hall. As I neared the archer instructor, my broken job transfer clue, an incomplete lake lamp, suddenly flared, casting a blue line toward a dusty door marked Abandoned Archives. I realized the real quest wasn't on the menu. The instructor walked over, noting I'd finally hit level 10. The instructor laid out the standard options: Ranger, Sharpshooter, or Windwalker. I asked, are there any hidden paths? The instructor warned me that hidden paths are dangerous and might tank my potential. I ignored the lecture and showed him the village chief's recommendation letter, followed by the broken job transfer clue. His eyes went wide. This is the clue to the forbidden hunter of the Mirror Lake. A few players nearby, including Lai Yen Gongzi, pricked up their ears at the mention of a hidden job. Lai Yen Gongzi, fresh off his own Fire Mage quest, stared at me. The instructor leaned in and whispered that only one person could authorize this path: Selena. I confirmed I knew her. He pointed to the old door and warned me that the Forbidden Hunter is a disgraced class that hunts its own shadow. I stepped into the dark room, where the incomplete lake lamp revealed Selena, the shadowless hunter. Selena was a legendary hunter, disgraced after the Mirror Lake catastrophe. Selena asked if I wanted to become a forbidden hunter. I nodded and showed the recommendation letter. Upon seeing the broken job transfer clue, Selena smiled. Moer gave this to you, didn't he? She sighed. That old man is still finding successors for me even now. Very well, I will initiate the trial. The system warned that the trial was significantly harder than standard ones. Failure meant losing a level, a random skill, and 10 Blackstone City reputation. Success granted the hidden class and additional specializations based on performance. I noted the harsh penalty of losing a skill, which would cripple a normal player. I accepted the quest. Enter the Shadow Hunter trial ground and kill your shadow. The trial prohibited the use of town portal or teleportation scrolls. My hunger hit 63 out of 100. I had been grinding nonstop since arriving. Low hunger would soon degrade my stamina and stats, turning me into a very hungry, very inefficient obstacle. I decided to eat now and reward myself properly after the trial. I consumed roasted gray meat and water, restoring my hunger. I told Selena I was ready. I arrived on the surface of a dark lake. A mirror reflection of myself stared back. LV-10 Shadow of Night God. It was a perfect copy, equipped with every one of my skills and pieces of gear. I didn't hesitate, downing Gale and Eagle Eye potions before laying 20 binding traps. As soon as the shadow triggered the first one, I tagged it with Mark Prey. I followed up with Concussion Arrow, hitting for 1280 damage and leaving the shadow stunned. I chained my attacks with Shadow Assault Arrow, triggering a critical hit, and Blood Mirror Strike, having the shadow's HP. When it tried to use Storm Arrow Rain, I interrupted it with my own. I deployed advanced guiding lake lamps to keep the shadow's clones in check. With the clones weakened by 40%, I proved that I could rely on my own tactical mind rather than just burning through my potion supply. I unleashed one final Storm Arrow Rain, shattering the clones into nothing. With a final strike of 7,200 damage, the shadow dissolved. I reached level 12 and gained the Blood Shadow Hunter class, along with 3 specializations: Weakness Hunting, Mirror Shadow Pursuit, and Shadow Blood Perception. A citywide announcement declared me the first to complete a special job transfer with a perfect rating. It seems my reputation is now officially louder than my actual accomplishments. I received the title Shadow Hunter Pioneer. I topped the job transfer ranking. Other top players were stunned. Lai Yin Gongzi, who only achieved an excellent rating, felt humiliated. This guy is a monster. Back in the archives, I checked my new class panel. Weakness Hunting, plus 50% damage to weaknesses, plus 20% if the target is debuffed. Mirror Shadow Pursuit, chance to generate a mirror arrow on weakness hits. Shadow Blood Perception, detects injured or hidden units. These skills were perfect for countering assassins. I received 20 reputation and the Shadow Blood Mark skill book. My inventory now contained infinite copies of the skill book. Requirement: Blood Shadow Hunter. Effect: marks a target. Weakness hits deal extra damage. If the target dies, the mark jumps to nearby enemies, up to 5. I maxed the skill to level 10. At level 10, the mark lasts 120 seconds, deals 150% physical damage, and can jump up to 20 times. Satisfied, I left for the Silver Deer Inn to rest. The city streets were a masterclass in olfactory torture. My hunger vanished the moment I caught the scent of the local stalls. I picked up a Blackstone Skewer, fine grade. It restored 40 hunger and gave my stamina a nice boost. It was actually delicious. I ordered the entire menu, stuffing my infinite inventory with enough high-quality meat to feed an army. After the feast, I felt refreshed enough to stop wandering and head to the inn. The landlady greeted me with a smile that felt a little too warm. I handed over 1 gold coin for the Silver Deer Suite, which promised both security and recovery. I checked my stats: LV-12, 173-year lifespan, and infinite resources. Not a bad haul for a day's work. I found myself wondering how the other regions were holding up. I decided to sleep and used a low-level barrier scroll. A blue light enveloped the room. I stacked multiple barrier and concealment scrolls for maximum security. I added a damage reflection shield. It reflected 50% of the first attack and 10% thereafter. It was sufficient. Just as I was drifting off, a system prompt dragged me back to reality. 100 players have completed their first job transfer. Blue Star Civilization Progress ranking is now open. Rankings for level, job, reputation, and lifespan were officially established. The top 100 players would gain civilization attention. I checked the list. I was first, followed by AO Gu, Europe, Miyamoto Sosuke, Sakura, Thor Thomas, North America, and Anubis, Desert. I noted that the other regions were lagging behind. Only 100 people out of billions had transferred. The competition was just beginning. I noted the level gap and analyzed the top players. Night God, perfect. AO Gu, excellent. Miyamoto Sosuke, excellent. And Lai Yin Gongzi, excellent. Bailu ranked 5th as a special support class. Rankings weren't strictly tied to class rarity, though Lai Yin Gongzi's presence was surprising. The reputation leaderboard followed. Night God, 225, AO Gu, 91, Miyamoto, 88, and Bailu, 76. Lai Yin Gongzi held 5th place in reputation. The lifespan leaderboard showed Night God, 173 years, AO Gu, 116, Bailu, 113, and Miyamoto, 111. Thor Thomas rounded out the top 5 with 109 years. Night God dominated all 4 lists, leading the lifespan rankings by a massive margin. The Blue Star chat exploded. Thor Thomas questioned how a level 12 player could achieve this. Miyamoto and AO Gu expressed shock, while Lai Yin Gongzi dismissed it as luck. Bailu retorted that Lai Yin Gongzi should be grateful for his own ranking. Taishan laughed at the exchange. Thor Thomas attempted to recruit Night God to the North America region. He defended the Great Xia region. A Japanese player demanded Night God share his strategy for the sake of Blue Star. Great Xia players told them to get lost, while others marveled at the 173-year lifespan. European players lamented that while levels and classes could be caught up, lifespan could not. The chat flooded with praise for Night God. I ignored the calls to share my secrets. I was willing to trade resources, but I would never give them away for free, especially to the Sakura district. My success was the result of my own hard work. The system announced I had topped all 4 lists, granting me a mythical grade civilization chest in 7 days. I resolved to maintain my lead, then slept. In the night, Lai Yin Gongzi crept into the silver deer inn to set a fire. Lai Yin Gongzi boasted about his eternal flame skill, intending to burn me alive. I woke up feeling brand new and immediately refreshed my daily limits. I burned through my resources, padding my lifespan to 233 years. Looking at the numbers, I realized I was light years ahead of every other player. Aogu asked how I gained 60 years overnight. Miyamoto called it unreasonable. Bailu joked about her own sleeping habits. Players were stunned by the rapid growth. Some accused the system of favoritism toward Great Xia. Sakura District players again demanded I disclose my method. Great Xia players mocked their entitlement. Anubis noted that lifespan was the core currency of God's domain. I ignored the chatter and left my room. I considered buying a private residence instead of staying in inns, assuming I could afford a roof that didn't leak every time the weather turned. I nodded to myself. Outside the inn, a crowd had gathered. They whispered about a fire that occurred during the night. They noted the arsonist was an idiot who ended up burning himself to death. I scoffed at the fool's demise and headed out, my sights set on my next objective, unburdened by financial worries, a rare state of being for someone who usually lives one disaster away from poverty. My true goal is to accumulate reputation, rare resources, intelligence, and main city permits. Nickname: Night God. Level: 12. Class: Blood Shadow Hunter. Lifespan: 233 years. Total reputation: 225. Blackstone City reputation: 130. Suddenly, I receive a message. He messages: Night God, our first team entered the Mirror Lake ruins last night. He confirms they didn't clear it, but lit the first lighthouse, gaining XP and materials. Your guide is real. I reply, obviously. He asks to buy a second pass and mentions a new item that might interest me. I am intrigued. He sends low-level contract stone, a rare grade. Description: used to sign system contracts, restricting trade behavior. I realize this is perfect for binding clients and suppliers, assuming they don't find my business practices as suspicious as I do. This is invaluable. With infinite contract stones, I can safely develop agents and sign supply contracts. I can outsource sales to others to snowball my business. I agree to trade a pass and some potions for the stone. The trade completes. You obtained low-level contract stone, I rare grade X1. Contract stone added to inventory. Quantity is now infinite. Excellent. I keep it for later and prepare to grind monsters, pulling out a damaged animal skin map. This is a tool for exploring unknown areas, distinct from a standard dungeon scroll. I use the map to locate the abandoned hunting ground. Area discovered, abandoned hunting ground. Recommended level, 12 to 15. Warning, contains traps, hounds, and out-of-control hunter wraiths. I smirk. Traps, hounds, and wraiths? This is the perfect starter dungeon for my forbidden class, assuming I don't accidentally delete myself in the process. Time to test the waters. Current area, Blackstone Wilderness. Warning, death penalties are increased in the wild. I am not worried, thanks to my 233-year lifespan. I eat some beef skewers, drink Gale and Eagle Eye potions for agility and crit buffs, cast Protection of the Wind, and activate a low-level stealth scroll. I enter the abandoned hunting ground. My shadow blood perception automatically highlights bloodstains, footprints, and hidden traps in red. Nothing escapes me, not even the traps buried in the grass. You discovered low-level animal trap. You discovered rusted tripwire. I laugh. My perception is the ultimate counter to this terrain. It turns out that being an archer makes me surprisingly skilled at dismantling traps, too. I disarm the first trap. You obtained rusted animal trap, fine grade. Rusted animal trap added to inventory. Quantity is now infinite. I plan to litter the area with these as I go. I continue dismantling, gaining infinite quantities of rusted tripwires and poison spike mechanisms. Suddenly, a low growl echoes from the grass. 3 gray-black hounds with glowing green eyes emerge. LV-12 Rotten Tooth Hound, fine grade, HP, 4200/4200, ATK, 380, Def, 160. A normal player would flee, but I mark them with Shadow Blood Mark. I toss a trap on the ground. Snap. The first hound is caught. Target movement speed reduced by 40%. I draw my +10 Mirror Blood Bow and fire a Shadow Assault arrow. Weakness hit. -9,820. Mirror Shadow Pursuit triggered. -4,100. Shadow Blood Mark triggered. -4,920. The hound dies instantly. I use Storm Arrow Rain on the other two, killing them instantly. I gain infinite Rotten Tooth Dog Teeth, Rotten Dog Skins, and Hound Blood Sacs. My damage output is explosive. I continue deeper. The hounds are mere target practice. With my traps, the hounds are effectively immobilized. I collect more materials, including a rare grade Rotten Tooth Dog Heart. I reach a dilapidated cabin in the center of the grounds. A semi-transparent figure stands there, a middle-aged man with a bow, riddled with arrows. LV-13 Out of Control Hunter Wraith, Rare Elite, HP, 18,000/18,000, ATK, 520, Def, 220, M.Def, 180, Skills, Wraith Hunter Arrow, Trap Awakening, Hound Recall, Dying Counterattack. The Wraith speaks, warning me that the hunting ground is cursed. I ignore the monologue as the area explodes with traps. I deploy multiple low-level barrier scrolls to block the incoming projectiles. The Wraith steps forward and walks straight into my traps. Target hit by Rusted Animal Trap. Target movement speed reduced. Target hit by Broken Hunting Net. Target briefly immobilized. I mark him. I fire a Shadow Assault arrow. Weakness hit. -11,200. Mirror Shadow Pursuit triggers. I unleashed Shadow Blood and Bleed damage, shredding the Wraith's health. As it roared, 7 Rotten Tooth Hounds emerged. I vanished using a random teleportation scroll, then rained Storm Arrow Rain from above, wiping the hounds and resetting my cooldowns. 30 seconds later, the Wraith hit 20% health and triggered a Death Struggle real damage attack. I narrowly avoided the lethal blow by activating Mirror Image Substitute, reappearing 20 meters away. I fired a Shadow Assault arrow, piercing the Wraith's skull for 15,800 damage. It collapsed, dead. Killed LV-13 out of control Hunter Wraith, rare elite. Gained 3,000 EXP, 20 Blackstone City reputation, 1 rare grade soul hunting quiver, and 1 broken diary. The soul hunting quiver became infinite. Before I could check my loot, the diary opened. The diary revealed the hunting ground was destroyed by something nailed underground. A system alert confirmed the underground beast cage hidden area was now open, LV-15, high danger. I entered the dark, foul-smelling tunnel, hearing heavy chains dragging. I was immediately marked as prey, alerting all monsters to my location. Crimson eyes ignited in the darkness. LV-14 Iron Tooth Hounds. HP, 7,800. Fizz ATK, 610. Fizz DF, 260. Skills, Iron Tooth Bite, Group Pounce, Blood Tracking. A dozen hounds charged. Faster than the Rotten Tooth Hounds, they swarmed me. I grinned, applied Shadow Blood Mark, and watched them trigger my traps. I teleported 30 meters back, drew my bow, and fired. It's a classic move, mostly because I'm far too fond of my own personal space. A blood-silver arrow pierced a hound's eye. Weak point hit, minus 12,880. Mirror Shadow Pursuit, minus 5,200. Shadow Blood, minus 6,100. The hound exploded. I chained the Shadow Blood Mark to the next target, clearing the tunnel with Storm Arrow Rain. I retreated, laying traps, bear traps, tripwires, and poison spikes, to turn the narrow corridor into a slaughterhouse. 2 minutes later, the path was littered with corpses. I pushed deeper, using a lake lamp to reveal a massive underground prison. A black-furred beast sat in a nearby cage. LV-15 Chainhound, rare. HP, 20,000. Fizz ATK, 880. Fizz DF, 360. Skills, Chain Pounce, Rending Bleed, Prey Drag. I stunned it with a concussion arrow and applied Shadow Blood Mark. I finished it with Shadow Assault and armor-piercing arrows. Killed LV-15 Chainhound. Gained 2,500 EXP and infinite loot. A voice called out from the wall. Roger, the Hunter Field Keeper, was pinned by a soul-sealing nail. He warned me that the strongest hound, created by the Hunter Association, had been awakened. Roger revealed he had been sacrificed to empower the beast. I asked for its weakness. Roger didn't know, but noted it was locked in the final room. He instructed me to destroy 3 soul-sealing nails to enter. This would fully release the beast. Triggered Hidden Quest, the final room. Objective, destroy 3 soul-sealing nails and kill the strongest hound. Progress, 0/3. Rewards, 50 Blackstone City reputation, increased Hunter Association favor, and unknown rewards. I accepted. Roger pointed out the 3 nails, East Cage, West Skinning Room, and the deepest Beast Bone Altar. Roger vanished. I activated Wind Walk, heading for the East Cage. Inside, a massive beast stood by the first nail, LV-15 Soul Sealing Hound Guard, rare elite. HP, 50,000. Skills, Pack Command, Shadow Lock Bite, Soul Seal Protection. The cages opened, releasing 100 hounds. The guard roared, buffing their speed. I braced myself for the swarm. I used Storm Arrow Rain to trigger chain reactions of Shadow Blood Marks, clearing the fodder while sniping the guard. I trapped the guard, preventing it from maneuvering. 3 minutes later, the guard fell. I hit LV-13, gained stats, and shattered the first nail. The facility shook. I moved to the West Skinning Room, home to LV-15 Skinning Shadow Beasts. Quantity, 18. Traits, Camouflage, Stealth Breaking, Bleed. I was prepared. I used Stealth Breaking Powder, revealing them, then wiped the room with Storm Arrow Rain. I quickly executed the room's guard, destroyed the second nail, and looted a rare-grade Shadow Beast cloak. The cloak was a great find. LV-13. Agility plus 35, Spirit plus 20, Evasion plus 5%. Effect, 8% chance to enter a shadow state when hit by ranged attacks, reducing damage by 50%. I equipped it, planning to complete my set. I aimed to fully upgrade my gear to plus 10. I wanted to look formidable in the city. I sprinted toward the Beast Bone Altar, spotting the third nail buried deep in a pulsing tumor. Standing in my way was the LV-16 Skinless Hound King, a rare boss that looked exactly as unpleasant as its name suggests. HP, 85,000. Skills, Flesh Pounce, Shadow Devour, Bone Regeneration, Raging Tear. I didn't wait for an invitation, I engaged. I kept my feet moving, my finger hovering over my teleport skill. I unleashed my full combo, carving away a third of the boss's health. When the king tried to regenerate, I hit it with poison burst arrows to slash its healing by 70%. 2 minutes later, I killed the king. Gained 18,000 EXP, reputation, rare gear, and the Hunter Shadow Step skill book. Hit LV14. Beast Bone Battle Boots. Agility plus 40, speed plus 12%. Effect, 20% trap immunity. Hunting Ground Belt. HP plus 400, stamina plus 30, weight plus 10%. Effect, potion recovery plus 10%. Hunter Shadow Step. High-speed movement and bonus weak point damage. I learned and maxed the skill to LV10. Effect, plus 80% speed for 12s. Next weak point attack deals 200% damage. LV10 trait, 30% cooldown refresh on kill. I destroyed the final nail. The tumor burst. A door appeared. Inside stood the LV16 strongest hound, core boss. HP, 120,000. Traits, stationary, summon swarm, shadow devour, flesh regeneration. I blocked the entrance with traps and barriers, isolating the boss. I suppressed its regeneration with poison and sniped it down. After 5 minutes, it died. Gained 35,000 EXP, reputation, hunter soul mark, rare bracers, and an excellent grade beast cage core. Hit LV15. I was thrilled by the excellent grade material. Beast cage core, excellent grade material. Note, the core remains of the underground beast cage can be used to craft hunter class gear, traps, or special pet items. Infinite excellent grade materials. This is a massive profit. These materials are perfect for my class, and the ability to craft special pet items later is a huge bonus. I also obtained the Soul Hunting Mark. Soul Hunting Mark, special item. Bound to Night God. Effect. Accumulate soul hunting stacks by killing monsters of fine grade or higher. Every 100 stacks temporarily enhance Blood Shadow Hunter skills. Every 1,000 stacks permanently increase weakness damage by 1%. I paused, stunned. A permanent increase to weakness damage? This is a true growth-type resource. While others only get EXP and materials, I'll be stacking late-game potential with every kill. This reward justifies the dungeon's high difficulty. I equipped the newly obtained Beast Cage Bracers. Beast Cage Bracers, rare grade. REQ. LV15. Phys ATK, plus 45. AGI, plus 25. Trap damage, plus 15%. Bonus. Trap deployment speed increased by 20%. My gear set is nearly complete. Mirror Blood Hunting Bow, Blood Mirror Quiver, Insect King Leather Armor, Mirror Lake Ring, Hunter Badge, Shadow Beast Cloak, Beast Bone Battle Boots, Hunting Ground Belt, and Beast Cage Bracers. With my core set assembled, I decided to push my luck. I grabbed my rare grade reinforcement stones and aimed for the plus 10 cap, starting with the Shadow Beast Cloak. Shadow Beast Cloak, plus 10. Shadow reduction probability increased to 20%, damage reduction to 70%. Beast Bone Battle Boots, plus 10. Movement speed significantly increased. Trap immunity probability increased to 45%. Hunting Ground Belt, plus 10. HP bonus increased. Potion recovery effect increased to 25%. Beast Cage Bracers, plus 10. Trap damage increased to 35%. Deployment speed to 50%. I reinforced the Insect King Leather Armor, Mirror Lake Ring, and Hunter Badge to plus 10 as well. My gear now glowed with a mix of blood silver, ghostly blue, and dark red light. The visual effect was stunning, especially the bow and quiver, which shimmered like blood-drenched rubies. I checked my panel. Name, Night God. LV. 15. Class, Blood Shadow Hunter. Lifespan, 236 years. Blackstone City Rep. 260. Hunter Association Rep. 100. HP. 2,680. Mana. 1280. Phys ATK. 720. AGI. 318. Crit rate. 58%. Weakness DMG. 50%. Speed. extremely fast. Gear reinforcement, all core gear, +10. I smiled. Only my second day in Blackstone City, and I was already LV-15 with a full set of +10 rare gear, infinite excellent grade materials, and the growth type soul hunting mark. I was undoubtedly the top player on Blue Star. Time to head back. As the underground beast cage collapsed, I used a mid-level town portal scroll. 5 seconds later, I vanished. A regional announcement echoed. Blackstone City announcement. Player Night God has cleared the hidden area. Underground beast cage. Abandoned hunting ground danger level reduced. Hunter Association reputation system unlocked. Player Night God is now #1 on the contribution ranking. Huaxiao players in the city fell silent. Night God again. He just finished his first job transfer yesterday. What is the underground beast cage? I haven't even dared to enter the abandoned hunting ground yet. Are we even playing the same version of this game? I check my new status. Hunter Association reputation, 100. Access. Hunter Association level 1 shop unlocked. I grinned. A new shop meant more loot, though I suspected my bank balance would soon regret the convenience. I reappeared at the city's northwest portal. A ranking board appeared before me. Blackstone City Contribution Ranking, 1st, Night God, 12,600, 2nd, Bailu, 740, 3rd, Taishan, 520. The gap was massive. Players stared in disbelief. What did he do in there? I don't know, but the recommended level for that area is LV-12-15. I tried to fight a mob outside the city and almost died. He's on another level. Is this the power of a special job transfer? Suddenly, someone spotted me on the main street. Look, is that Night God? The glow on his gear. That's at least +5 reinforcement. No, that's a full set. We haven't even found one fine-grade item, and he's fully reinforced? How did he get so many reinforcement stones? Players gasped as I walked by. A +10 set was unheard of. Even a +2 item was a luxury on the exchange. Night God was simply incomparable. I headed to the Hunter Association, a blackwood building embedded in the city wall. A one-eyed NPC guard approached. You're the one who cleared the beast cage? I nodded. LV-15 Blood Shadow Hunter. Impressive. You have real skill to kill the Dog King without a scratch. Hunter Association evaluation improved. Reputation +50. Current reputation, 150. I was pleased. Enter, the guard said. You have access to the level 2 shop. Also, the guild master wants to see you. Hunter Association access upgraded. Level 2 shop unlocked. Inside, NPCs whispered about me as I approached the counter. The female clerk greeted me. Mr. Night God, you may access level 1 and 2 goods. I opened the shop, wondering if my alias sounded as ridiculous to them as it did to me. Hunter Soul Potion, rare grade. Price, 10 rep, 50 gold. Effect, 30-minute duration, plus 20% soul hunting stacks from fine-grade monsters or higher. I bought it. Purchased Hunter Soul Potion. Quantity, infinite. With the soul hunting mark, this was a permanent buff. Next, I bought the Advanced Animal Trap Blueprint, rare grade. Learned. Quantity, infinite. Perfect. Item 5, Hunter Association Pass, special. Price tag, 30 Hunter Association reputation and 500 gold coins. It grants me access to exclusive areas around Blackstone City. A smart investment for my wallet. Exclusive access means better intel and rarer goods. I buy it without a second thought. This permit is a one-of-a-kind item. I head to the second floor shop, where the inventory is smaller but the value is higher. I spot the soul-locking hunting cage formation reinforcement scroll, excellent grade. It costs 50 reputation and 1 purple gold coin to upgrade a rare grade trap blueprint to excellent. My eyes light up. I just finished learning the rare grade version of this trap, so the timing is perfect. I buy the scroll. Thanks to my infinite inventory, the quantity becomes infinite. I use it immediately. The soul-locking hunting cage formation, excellent grade, is successfully created. It deploys a formation that traps targets, slowing their movement and evasion while dealing continuous soul-hunting damage. The bonus effectiveness against beasts, spirits, and shadow-type targets is exactly what I was hoping for. I am thrilled. My trap system has leveled up from single-target traps to area of effect crowd control. It seems I've officially graduated from pest control to a full-blown nuisance. I plan to adjust my combat style accordingly. I will now set up the formation before engaging bosses to debuff them and drain their health. Combined with the Blood Shadow Hunter's weakness hunting, this will be highly efficient, potentially saving me from relying on teleportation scrolls. Next, Hunter Soul Arrow Seed, excellent grade. Cost, 50 reputation and 1 purple gold coin. Effect, adds a chance for arrows to deal soul hunting damage. I check my remaining reputation. The short-haired huntress reminds me I can convert Blackstone City reputation to Hunter Association reputation at a 2-to-1 ratio. I convert 200 Blackstone City reputation for 100 Association reputation. I buy the arrow seeds, which become infinite in my inventory. I embed them into my blood mirror quiver. The quiver gains the soul hunting damage effect. When hitting a weakness, there is a chance to deal additional soul hunting damage. Since my quiver is plus 10, the trigger probability is increased, specifically a 35% chance to deal 150% physical damage as soul hunting damage. This synergy with my weakness hunting specialty is perfect. I check the final item, Hunter Association Recommendation Letter, Special. Cost, 100 reputation. Effect, allows registration as a special contributor at the City Lord's Mansion, unlocking high-level quests. It's expensive, but the potential to miss out on resources makes it worth the cost. I decide to buy it, knowing I can earn more reputation later. With my reputation drained, the huntress informs me that the guild leader, Grayson, wants to see me on the 3rd floor. I meet Grayson, a white-haired giant carrying a massive black bow. Grayson thanks me for clearing the beast cage disaster, a failed experiment that turned into a soul-eating plague. Grayson explains the tragedy of the runaway beast cages. My favorability increases, and I am awarded 100 reputation, quickly replenishing my spent points. Grayson hands me a black badge. Title, Beast Cage Cleaner. Effect, 10% discount at the Hunter Association. Bonus, 10% increased damage against beasts, cage-related entities, and soul-hunting targets. I realize I should have met the leader before shopping to save money. Grayson offers a special reward, a choice between equipment, skills, or information. I choose information. Grayson points to the sunken ancient forest in the north, where an excellent grade boss is waking up. If not stopped within 3 days, it will trigger a beast tide. Recommended level, 18 to 20. I, currently level 15, accept the challenge. Grayson then asks for the beast cage core in exchange for a high-level forging commission. I agree. It's the perfect chance to upgrade my gear. I hand over the core and unlock the commission. My weapon is the priority, so I choose to upgrade it. Grayson says it will take 1 day. I find the wait unacceptable. I ask for an expedited service. Grayson demands 10 purple gold coins and 3 excellent grade materials. It's a massive cost, 100,000 silver coins, but I don't hesitate. I pay the price, relying on my infinite resources. Grayson is left stunned by my casual display of wealth. Grayson stared at me, stunned. 4 beast cage cores. That was unheard of. Did I really give you that many? Grayson muttered, then shook it off. Anything wrong with the materials? My voice snapped Grayson back to reality. He hurried to the 3rd floor forge. 10 minutes later, a resonant hum echoed through the Hunter Association, drawing stares from every NPC. Grayson emerged with the beast cage soul hunter bow. I equipped it immediately. It was excellent grade, and thanks to my infinite supply, I had an endless stock. Effect 1. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow. Generates an arrow shadow upon hitting a weak point. Effect 2. Beast Cage Suppression. Deals 30% increased damage to targets affected by traps, formations, or crowd control. Effect 3. Soul Cage Harvest. Grants extra soul hunting stacks when killing fine grade or higher targets. I felt my power surge. The new bow was a perfect fit for my trap-based playstyle, assuming I didn't accidentally trip over my own snares first. The only downside was that the enhancement level didn't carry over from my previous weapon. No matter. I began reinforcing it with rare enhancement stones. The first attempt failed, but the base level remained. I succeeded in reaching +2 and then +3. At +3, the rare stones hit their limit. I needed excellent enhancement stones for further upgrades. I turned to Grayson. Where can I buy excellent enhancement stones? Grayson directed me to the 3rd floor shop, noting it required reputation and purple gold coins. I checked the shop. Cost, 20 reputation and 1 purple gold coin. I bought one, and my infinite supply triggered. I pushed the bow to +10. The stats skyrocketed. 420 physical attack, 140 agility, 30% crit, 45% weak point damage, and enhanced effects. The Soul Cage Harvest bonus also increased by 50%. My damage output had nearly doubled. The weapon's glow was blindingly intense, far surpassing my old gear. I asked Grayson for a good grinding spot. Grayson pointed west. Blackstone Rift Valley. Plenty of level 15 to 18 armor-splitting beetles. I left the building, the glowing +10 bow drawing gasps from the crowd. An excellent +10 weapon? Is he insane? The Blackstone City leaderboard updated. Rank 1. Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow, excellent +10, held by Night God. Rank 2. Blood Mirror Quiver, rare +10, Night God. Rank 3. Mirror Blood Hunting Bow, rare +10, Night God. Rank 4. Shadow Beast Cloak, rare +10, Night God. Rank 5. Beastbone Battle Boots, rare +10, Night God. The city was in an uproar. The top 5 spots were all dominated by Night God. Players were stunned. He had turned the leaderboard into a personal showcase. I ignored the fame, exiting the city while snacking on beef skewers and washing them down with wind and eagle-eye potions. The potions tasted like a mix of soda, refreshing. I felt great. Time to grind. The Rift Valley looked like a jagged scar in the earth, plastered with enough insect eggs to ruin anyone's day. Huge beetles crawled out, their shells scraping against the stone with a sound that set my teeth on edge. I had officially waltzed into the level 15 to 18 zone. The place was packed with high-defense monsters and traps, just the way I like them. I grinned. I stepped into the rift and immediately deployed the soul-locking hunting cage formation, bathing the area in red light. A dozen armor-splitting beetles surged from the cracks to greet me. Level 15 fine-grade beetles, 12,000 HP, 520 defense, with shells thick enough to ignore most weapons and a nasty habit of burrowing. They were a nightmare for the average player. Once these monsters surround a player, they are usually doomed, forced to either die or burn a town portal scroll to escape. I, however, was thrilled. I drew my excellent grade +10 Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow, which hummed deeply. Shadow Blood Mark. As the target entered the Shadow Blood state, I unleashed Storm Arrow Rain. Blood Silver arrows rained down, piercing the emerging armor-splitting beetles. Each kill triggered a chain of effects: Weakness Hunting, Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow, Shadow Blood Damage, and Soul Cage Harvesting. With each beetle falling, the mark jumped to the next, clearing the ground. I grinned. This efficiency was perfect for stacking soul hunting layers, which permanently boosted weakness damage, a snowball effect of growing stronger with every kill. I activated Hunter Shadow Step, moving faster than Wind Walk, and charged deep into the rift. Half an hour later, a golden light enveloped me. Level 16 reached. +1 year lifespan, +1 all stats, +5 free points, +3 skill points. I dumped everything into agility, consumed a new Hunter Soul Potion, and ate some flame beef to keep my stamina recovery high. Deep in the rift, near a blackstone forest, the ground began to tremble. A giant beetle, the size of a carriage, burst from the earth. LV-17 Rift Valley Insect Mother, Rare Elite. HP, 90,000/90,000. Skills, Swarm Summon, Shell Hardening, Rift Shock, Egg Laying. My eyes lit up at the skill list. It was a self-replenishing source of soul-hunting layers. The insect mother shrieked, laying dozens of eggs that hatched into small beetles. I immediately deployed the soul-locking hunting cage formation and unleashed Storm Arrow Rain. The swarm evaporated, and the notification sounds flooded my screen. I stood back, farming the small fry as the mother laid more eggs, pushing my soul-hunting layers from 100 to 300, then 500. Once the mother stopped laying, I went on the offensive. With a Shadow Blood Mark, Hunter Shadow Step, and a perfectly aimed Shadow Assault Arrow, I triggered a massive burst of damage. The mother's HP bar vanished. Level 17 reached. +1 year lifespan, +1 all stats, +5 free points, +3 skill points. I invested in agility again and checked my new gear. Armor-splitting shoulder guards, rare. Effect, 10% chance to reflect melee attacks. It was a perfect fit. I used a rare grade enhancement stone to bring the guards to +10, boosting the reflection chance to 25%. My equipment set was becoming formidable. Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow, Blood Mirror Quiver, Insect King Leather Armor, Shadow Beast Cloak, Beast Bone Battle Boots, Hunting Ground Belt, Beast Cage Bracers, Armor-Splitting Shoulder Guards, and Mirror Lake Ring, all at +10. Only the helmet, leggings, and necklace remained. As I pushed deeper, the Blackstone City leaderboard refreshed. 1. Night God, LV17. 2. Bailu, LV12. 3. Taishan, LV12. 4. Lai Yin Gongzi, LV12. Players were stunned. He leveled up again? He was just LV15. They felt like they were playing a hell mode version of the game while I played a cracked version, which was a fair assessment given my current luck. They wondered if there were any rewards left in Blackstone City that hadn't already been monopolized by Night God. I finally entered the core area of the Blackstone Rift Valley. HP 38,000/38,000. Traits: Black Crystal Body, Magic Resistance, Crystal Tail Sweep. These monsters were tanky, but thankfully, I wasn't a magic-based class. I approached stealthily and struck. Using the soul-locking hunting cage formation for control, Storm Arrow Rain for clearing, and Poison Burst Arrow for armor penetration, I wiped out the black crystal lizards in 20 minutes. Soul Hunting Layers, 1000. Triggered. Permanent 1% increase to weakness damage. It was a small start, but a permanent one. As I continued to stack these bonuses, my late-game damage would become astronomical. I prepared to move deeper when the ground shook violently. In the center of the stone forest, a massive crystal pillar shattered. A 10-meter-long black lizard crawled out. LV-18 Black Crystal Lizard King, Rare Boss. HP 180,000/180,000. Skills: Black Crystal Shield, Crystal Tail Fracture, Rift Shock, Crystal Consumption Recovery. I downed a few potions before the fight. The Lizard King roared, causing the valley to tremble, and instantly grew a thick layer of crystal armor. Skill: Black Crystal Shield. Black Crystal Shield absorbs 30,000 damage, reduces incoming range damage by 20% while active. I scoffed at the 30k shield. I deployed the soul-locking hunting cage formation, slowing the boss down, then applied a shadow blood mark. I drew my bow and fired. Poison Burst Arrow. The arrow struck the joint of the lizard's forelimb, exploding into green mist. Effect: reduced healing, corroded defense. Burst Arrow. The explosion rocked the shield. -8,420, -9,160, -8,870. Cracks appeared on the shield. The Lizard King lashed out with its tail. Skill: Crystal Tail Fracture. The tail shattered, sending shards flying like an arrow rain. I activated Wind Protection, but the shards were overwhelming. I used a random teleportation scroll to reposition. 2 seconds later, the shield shattered. My turn. Shadow Assault Arrow. The blood-silver bolt streaked toward the boss's left eye. The lizard tried to block with its armored forehead, but I was too fast. With the Hunter Shadow Step bonus active, the arrow pierced through a gap in the armor and into the eye socket. Weakness hit. -32,800. Shadow Blood Mark triggered. -18,600. A translucent soul-hunting arrow shadow followed, piercing the same wound for another -22,100 damage. The boss roared and slammed its feet, triggering Rift Shock. The ground erupted with crystal spikes. I used another scroll to blink onto a high platform just as spikes pierced my previous location. The Lizard King, missing its target, bit into a crystal pillar to heal. Skill: Crystal Consumption Recovery. I fired another Poison Burst Arrow. The poison entered the boss's mouth, reducing its healing effect by 70%. The HP bar stopped climbing. Storm Arrow Rain. A barrage of arrows pinned the boss down. The Lizard King tried to escape, but the chains of the soul-locking hunting cage formation held it fast. The Black Crystal Lizard King struggled as arrows shattered its scales. I noted the Beast Cage Suppression and Controlled Target Damage bonuses triggering realizing my build excelled at stacking effects. 2 minutes later, the boss's health dropped below 30%, triggering its death throes. A berserk state, shield reset, and expanded shockwaves. The stone forest trembled as fissures spread. I didn't hesitate. I drew my bow to full tension, the +10 excellent grade glow intensifying. "This arrow," I whispered, "is for you." Shadow Assault Arrow. The arrow struck a weak point, triggering a guaranteed critical hit, Shadow Bloodmark, and Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow. A -76,800 damage burst erupted, freezing the boss in place. My arrow pierced the boss's forming black crystal shield from the inside, shattering it instantly. The beast let out a final, unwilling roar. Its massive body collapsed. System: successfully killed LV-18 Black Crystal Lizard King, rare boss. Experience +60,000. I gained reputation, rare grade Black Crystal Leg Guards, a necklace, materials, and the Crystal Eye Lock skill book. Leveling up to 18, I gained +1 year of lifespan and attribute points. I exhaled, relieved. Soloing this boss without my specific build would have been impossible. The Black Crystal Leg Guards, LV-18, provided +500 HP, +120 physical defense, +30 agility, and a 20% reduction to slow effects. The Black Crystal Necklace, LV-18, offered +40 spirit, +5% crit rate, and mana recovery on weak point hits. These pieces perfectly rounded out my gear set. I equipped them and used excellent enhancement stones to push both to +10, significantly boosting the slow reduction and mana recovery. I was now only missing a helmet, which was a shame, as my current headgear looked like a glorified bucket. I turned my attention to the new skill book, Crystal Eye Lock. The skill locked onto a target's weak point to increase hit accuracy. Hoping for a guaranteed hit at higher levels, I consumed multiple copies of the skill book to boost its proficiency. Moments later, the skill reached LV-10. Crystal Eye Lock, rare, LV-10, greatly increases weak point hit rate for 30 seconds. The first weak point attack is a guaranteed critical. While not a 100% hit rate, the guaranteed crit was devastating. Suddenly, the system alerted me. At LV-18, I had unlocked the Sunken Ancient Forest Hidden Area quest. A countdown of 2 days and 21 hours began. Failure would trigger a beast tide in Blackstone City. If I let the thread in the forest grow, the city is as good as finished. The situation is urgent, but I'm not rushing. I need a breather and, more importantly, a helmet to round out my gear. The forest boss is clearly lethal, and the penalties for failing are brutal. I couldn't risk injury or death, as the cost to my lifespan was too high. I used a town portal scroll. I arrived back in Blackstone City. The city was even busier than yesterday. Most players are stuck between LV-10 and LV-13, with only the elite hitting LV-14 or LV-15. Meanwhile, I'm sitting pretty at LV-18. My high-level gear effects made me impossible to miss, which is a fantastic trait for someone who prefers not to be noticed. I headed straight to the blacksmith shop. The shop was massive, run by Aogu, a high-level blacksmith. Aogu noticed my bow and equipment, stunned by the +10 refinement across my entire set. A Beast Cage Series bow, refined to the limit? Impressive. I presented my rare materials: black crystal scales, lizard cores, insect shells, and a beast cage core. I asked to forge a helmet. Aogu was shocked that I would waste such high-tier materials on a helmet instead of a weapon. I replied flatly, I need a helmet. What else would I forge? Aogu sighed at the extravagance, but agreed, noting the materials were perfect for defense and perception. Just do it, I insisted. I have plenty of materials. I submitted the components. Materials: 20 black crystal scales, 5 lizard cores, 10 insect shells, 1 beast cage core, plus 5 purple gold coins. Aogu ignited the furnace. The materials melted into a swirling, dark red energy. After 2 failed attempts, the third succeeded. A black crystal hunting crown emerged. The excellent grade crown provided plus 800 HP, plus 120 spirit, plus 60 agility, plus 20% weak point perception, and plus 30% resistance to mental debuffs. Effect 1. Black crystal concentration reduces fear/confusion duration. Effect 2. Hunter Crown Vision, detects weak points and traps. Effect 3. Beast Cage Pressure, suppresses low-level beasts. With my set complete, I used my remaining stones to push the crown to +10, finalizing my stats. Plus 1,500 HP, plus 220 Spirit, plus 110 Agility, and massive bonuses to Perception and Resistance. Black Crystal Concentration Enhancement grants a chance to directly ignore fear, confusion, and hallucination effects. Hunter Crown Vision Enhancement increases weak point locking speed and the detection rate of disguised units. Beast Cage Pressure Enhancement increases suppression probability against beasts not exceeding the user's level. As I donned the helmet, my vision sharpened. I felt like a high-end lens being fitted onto a very mediocre camera. The world became crystal clear. I could now faintly perceive the auras of players' gear, NPCs, and even the hidden gazes lurking in corners. Satisfying. I nodded, pleased with the sensory upgrade. My full set of primary gear was finally complete. AO goo-eyed the glowing +10 gear and joked, planning to take on the city lord? I chuckled and left the blacksmith shop. Suddenly, a friend request popped up. Player Bailu requests to add you. I paused. Bailu was a top-ranked special support player in Blackstone City. Why is she contacting me? I accepted. Bailu messaged, Night God, want a job? I raised an eyebrow. Night God, speak. Bailu. I found a hidden dungeon that might contain longevity items. My eyes flickered. Longevity items? I could never have enough of those. Bailu sent the details. Courtyard type. Hidden recommended. 2 to 4 players difficulty. Extreme. Rewards. Withered with staff, plasma bayonet, longevity items. Seeing longevity items confirmed, I replied. Night God, I believe you. What's the plan? Bailu. Simple. I provide the intel. You carry me. We split the rewards 50/50ths. Night God, deal. I was surprised she didn't try to gouge me. Night God, meet me at the Blackstone City blacksmith. Bailu arrived shortly, dressed in white gold priest robes, holding a vine staff. Her appearance was stunningly refined, like a character from an anime. I was momentarily stunned. God's domain didn't allow for appearance customization. She was naturally that beautiful. Night God. She waved a hand in front of me. Ready to go? Right, let's move. I replied, shaking off my distraction. She produced a yellowed map, withered spring courtyard fragment. A green light shot from the map, pointing southeast. Discovered hidden duo dungeon, withered spring courtyard. Recommended, LV 13-17. Rewards, spring longevity spirit peach, withered spring gear. It was just a small dungeon, which meant I'd likely be doing the heavy lifting while the game engine pretended it was a grand adventure. Bailu warned, don't get cocky. This dungeon has a life drain mechanic. If healing fails, even high damage won't save you. I glanced at her. Can you keep up? She lifted her chin. I'm a special support class. Don't underestimate me. She touched my hand, casting a spell. You received Bailu's skill, Dear Spirit Blessing. Life recovery speed increased. Partial damage delayed. I nodded. Not bad. Bailu pouted at my lukewarm praise. As we left the city, players whispered about the duo, a special support and a special damage dealer. What a luxurious setup. They must be hunting something big. Outside, Bailu asked, what's your current lifespan? I retorted, why? Curiosity. I bet you have more. She mused. I wonder, if these items were common, people wouldn't fear death so much. Bailu gazed into the distance. I'm just thinking, if these items could be produced consistently, many people wouldn't have to fear death so much. I replied indifferently. A nice thought, but very naive. First, God's domain will never let everyone live easily. Second, lifespan is the most precious currency in God's domain. It is absolutely impossible for it to be mass-produced. Otherwise, the entire God's domain game would collapse. Third, if you keep being such a saint, you'll die very quickly. Bailu stopped and pointed a finger at the back of my head. You? I'm not being a saint, okay? I clearly want the overall strength of Huaxia to increase. That's the only way we can survive against the other regions. I turned to look at Bailu. I figured she must have realized it by now. In reality, besides the Blue Star civilization joining the game, there were other civilizations as well. Moreover, The Blue Star civilization itself was divided into various major regions. I gagged. I don't need a sidekick. I marched ahead. Bailu stomped her foot. Fine. I'll show you how good my healing is. They reached a withered forest with a half-collapsed wooden gate. Bailu's map turned into blue light, merging with the stone pillars at the entrance. Hidden dungeon, withered spring courtyard, opened. Rules. Life drains continuously. Maintain healing and damage output. Hint. Withered wood never dies, spring life never grows. As we entered, the air smelled of decay and peach blossoms. I gripped my bow, wondering if my life expectancy was now shorter than a fruit fly's. Bailu stood close. Stay near me, night god. Warning, you are affected by withered spring courtyard. HP drains 1% per second. Hunger increases. Healing effects plus 20%. Bailu paled. 1% per second? That's disgusting. I stayed calm, snacking on beef skewers and chugging a health potion like it was soda. HP plus 200. Bailu stared at me, dumbfounded. This is a hidden dungeon. Have some respect. I shrugged. I am respecting it. I'm eating because it's broken. She was speechless. But in reality, I was feeling the pressure too. I felt eating while full was a torture worse than combat. As I led the way, Bailu followed, buffing me while eyeing my meat skewers with envy. Night god, how much are those skewers? They looked delicious. I offered her a handful of flame beef skewers. Bailu feigned indifference, claiming she only wanted a taste, but I could see the greed written all over her face. They're from the West Street Night Market, 5 silver coins each, I said. Bailu was stunned by the price. She held 20 skewers, busy calculating the cost. 100 silver coins, a whole gold coin, just for snacks? I shrugged, indifferent to the cost. Food was a trivial expense to me. Bailu swallowed hard and took a bite. Her eyes lit up, though she quickly regained her composure. When I teased her by asking for them back, she hid them behind her back, refusing to return a gift. I smiled as a rustling sound echoed from the courtyard. Leaves stirred on the ground. Over a dozen vine-entangled corpses crawled out. LV-14, withered vine corpse servant. With 9,000 HP each, they were dangerous. Bailu buffed me with Deer Spirit Blessing and Spring Breath technique, negating the courtyard's passive HP drain. I marked the first target with Shadow Blood Mark. A single arrow pierced the corpse's brow for 18,420 damage. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow and Shadow Blood procs obliterated the target instantly. I gained 1,200 EXP. I looted fine-grade Withered Vine Root and shifted the mark to the next target. Storm Arrow Rain blanketed the courtyard, dealing massive damage. As a survivor lunged, Bailu used Purification to break its vines. I finished it with an armor-piercing arrow. Bailu was shocked by my overwhelming damage, realizing why I topped the leaderboards. They moved to the second courtyard, a dried pond filled with black mud. 3 LV-15 withered mud longevity corpses emerged. They possessed 24,000 HP. Bailu misheard the name as sushi, earning a dry rebuke from me. As the monsters spat black mud, I deployed a 30 gold coin low-level barrier scroll without hesitation. Bailu watched, stunned, as I burned through my resources like they were worthless paper. To her, I was just reckless. To me, it was just an investment. I activated Crystal Eye Lock. The target's weak point, a pulsating core of mud, was revealed. Using Hunter Shadow Step, I repositioned and fired Shadow Assault Arrow. The critical hit dealt nearly 30,000 damage. The first corpse died. The others attempted Withered Mud Regeneration, but I countered with Poison Burst Arrow, reducing their healing by 70%. Bailu added Deer Spirit Purification, dealing bonus damage to the corrupted foes. I questioned her output, prompting a retort from the support. I fired a double shot, finishing the second corpse. I quickly dispatched the final corpse with an armor-piercing arrow. They earned 3,500 EXP. Looting rare materials, I wondered if they could grow longevity fruits. In the final courtyard, they found the withered spring priestess. She recognized Bailu but sensed the heavy scent of death on me. She explained the garden's tragic history. Living souls were sacrificed to force the spring longevity spirit peach to ripen. The system presented a choice: purify for higher difficulty and rewards, or forcibly harvest, for lower difficulty and reduced rewards. I chose Purify. The priestess granted Bai Lu the Deer Spirit Spring Purification Ritual skill. As Bai Lu began the ritual, the courtyard shook, and the rotten fruit on the peach tree began to burst. Black, resentful shadows emerged from the fruit. LV-15 Life-Stealing Resentful Shadow, Rare. HP. 18,000/18,000. Skills. Life Drain, Penetration, Ritual Interruption. 20 appeared in the first wave, charging at Bai Lu. Bai Lu remained stationary to maintain the ritual. "It's up to you," she said. I stepped forward, deploying the soul-locking hunting cage formation and advanced animal traps, feeling like a glorified gardener dealing with a pest infestation. I placed low-level barrier scrolls around Bai Lu, activating 3 layers of protection. Bai Lu noted the heavy defenses. "Isn't this a bit excessive?" I drew my beast cage soul hunter bow. "Stay focused." The first wave entered the formation, their speed and evasion dropping. I unleashed Storm Arrow Rain. Boom. Critical hits shredded the shadows. The shadows shattered. Killed Life-Stealing Resentful Shadow, Soul Hunter stacks +3. Obtained Life-Stealing Residue, Rare, X1, Infinite. Ritual Progress, 30%. A second wave emerged, 5 flanking Bai Lu. My black, crystal hunting crown glowed, triggering Hunter Crown Vision to reveal the disguised targets. I fired 3 arrows. Swish, swish, swish. 3 shadows exploded instantly. The remaining 2 hit the barriers. Bai Lu watched me. "Do you always protect teammates like this?" "I don't usually have teammates," I replied. "Am I the first?" she asked. "Yes." I finished the last shadow and added 10 more barrier scrolls, ensuring my paranoia was well documented. Bai Lu smiled at the overkill protection. Ritual progress, 65%. A third, larger wave appeared. Among them were larger spirits. LV-16 Life-Stealing Resentful Spirit, Rare Elite. HP. 50,000/50,000. Skills. Life Scream, Life Backlash, Ritual Pollution. "Careful, elites," I warned. 3 elites unleashed Life Scream simultaneously. My HP dropped, but my black crystal concentration reduced the mental impact by 60%. Bai Lu boosted her Deer Spirit Blessing. I drank 2 intermediate potions to top off my HP. Bai Lu realized her concern was unnecessary. I locked on with Crystal Eye and Shadow Bloodmark. I triggered Hunter Shadow Step and Shadow Assault Arrow. My aim was true. The first elite's weak point shattered. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow and Shadow Blood Damage triggered, instantly deleting the first elite. The second elite lunged, but its claws barely scratched my armor. I countered with Concussion Arrow, followed by Armor-Piercing Arrow, and watched it drop. I caught the third in my formation and erased it with Storm Arrow Rain. Ritual progress hit 90%. Then the tree exploded, and a new boss crawled out. LV-16 Life-Stealing Infant Spirit, Rare Boss. HP. 90,000/90,000. Skills. Life Scream, Life Backlash, Withered Spring Curse, Ritual Interruption. Bai Lu turned pale. The boss cast Withered Spring Curse on Bai Lu. 10 seconds to break it. I muttered, wondering if my own life expectancy was currently shorter than that timer. I activated all buffs and skills. My first Shadow Assault Arrow pierced the boss's brow. A massive critical hit triggered, followed by Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow and Shadow Blood damage. The boss's HP plummeted to under 10%. It shrieked, trying to retreat. My second Armor-Piercing Arrow finished it. Boom. The boss turned to ash. Bai Lu was stunned. 2 shots for a 90k HP boss. The top-ranked player lived up to his reputation. Killed LV-16 Life-Stealing Infant Spirit. EXP plus 40,000. Obtained Life-Stealing Soul Core, Rare, X1, Infinite. Life Delay Skill Book, Rare, X1, Infinite. Leveled up to LV-19. Life plus 1 year. All attributes plus 1. Free attribute points plus 5. Skill points plus 3. The ritual finished. The tree blossomed, producing 2 spring longevity spirit peaches. I grabbed one, wondering if I should eat it now or wait until I actually felt like a legendary hero instead of a glorified fruit picker. Spring longevity spirit peach, plus 50 years of life. Limit, 5 per day, 250 years a day enough. I ate one immediately. Current life, 290 years. Bai Lu ate the other. So sweet, she said. I teased her, and she retorted playfully. The Kuchun priestess's remnant appeared, thanking them for purifying the courtyard and offering a blessing. A pink light descended into me. Obtained blessing, breath of spring longevity. Duration, 72 hours. Effect, reduces life drain, wither, and life erosion effects by 30%. Note, provides resistance against black fog in the sunken ancient forest. I was pleased. Hidden dungeon, withered spring, courtyard purified. Rating, perfect. EXP plus 50,000, Blackstone City reputation plus 30, withered spring treasure chest, rare, X1, infinite. Bai Lu left, and I used a town portal scroll to return to Blackstone City. Blackstone City announcement. Players Night God and Bai Lu have perfectly purified the hidden dungeon, withered spring courtyard. The system announced the debut of the Spring Longevity Spirit Peach and the opening of longevity-themed dungeons, with Lu Chun and Bai Lu topping the contribution rankings. Blackstone City erupted in speculation about the perfect purification mentioned in the announcement. Outside the forest, Bai Lu blushed, finding the system's phrasing embarrassing. I rolled back into Blackstone City just as the sun gave up for the day. The sunken ancient forest could wait until morning. My priority was a bed at the Silver Deer Inn. I dumped my loot on the table and started cracking open the Witherspring treasure chests, pulling out a mountain of Spirit Dew and Agarwood anti-poison pills. The Witherspring Spirit Dew is decent enough, boosting my health regeneration by 20% for half an hour and cutting down those annoying health drain debuffs by 10%. Then there were the Agarwood anti-poison pills, which are basically my insurance policy against the local flora. They keep me standing for 30 minutes by dampening the effects of plant, decay, and miasma toxins. I also fished out the Witherspring Amulet, which handed me a flat plus 300 HP and plus 50 spirit. It adds another 5% reduction to health drain debuffs, but honestly, I wasn't exactly blown away by these minor stat nudges. I figured the chests were just glorified utility kits, but I opened one last box, holding out for a miracle. To my genuine surprise, a gold-trimmed excellent grade random class skill chest sat there waiting for me. I had yet to unlock a true, high-tier skill specifically for my Blood Shadow Hunter class. Excited, I opened the excellent grade chest. I successfully obtained the Blood Shadow Hunter skill, Soul Hunting Judgment Arrow. This skill deals high physical damage and inflicts extra soul hunting damage if the target is marked, bleeding, slowed, or immobilized. It has a 90-second cooldown. I was thrilled by the immediate power spike, though I'm sure my future self will find a way to complain about the wait time. It was a perfect fit for my forbidden class. The skill synergized perfectly with my existing kit. Shadow Blood Mark, the bleeding effect from my Blood Mirror Quiver, and the crowd control from my soul-locking hunting cage formation. I immediately learned the skill. I opened another excellent grade chest. I obtained the skill, Shadow Hunter Flash Step. This allows for an instant dash that boosts the damage of the next weak point attack. Positioning behind the target grants an additional damage bonus. This solved my mobility issues, as I no longer had to rely solely on scrolls that could be disabled in certain zones. A convenient feature for the universe, I'm sure, but a massive headache for me. I opened a third excellent grade chest. I obtained Blood Shadow Life Substitution. This passive triggers upon taking fatal damage, consuming a Blood Shadow mark to negate the death and leave behind a decoy. With both Mirror Image Substitute and this new skill, my survivability was immense. I continued opening chests, using duplicates to level up my new skills, effectively turning my own clones into a personal training montage. I rapidly increased the proficiency of all 3 skills. Within moments, I pushed all 3 to level 10. Soul Hunting Judgment Arrow now deals 600% physical damage. It adds 150% extra damage for every status effect present on the target. At level 10, hitting a weak point triggers Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow. Shadow Hunter Flash Step now grants an 80% damage boost to the next weak point attack. At level 10, killing a target has a chance to reset the cooldown. Blood Shadow Life Substitution creates a decoy that lasts 8 seconds. With my new kit, I had achieved a massive qualitative leap in damage, mobility, and survival. I felt fully prepared to tackle the dangers of the sunken ancient forest. After opening 500 more chests, I obtained the Witherspring Spirit Peach Pit, a material for planting my own spirit trees. I realized the game was becoming increasingly complex. With infinite pits, I could become a massive producer. I imagined a future where I could cultivate my own longevity peaches at home. I took a deep breath, energized by the possibilities. I decided I would eventually buy a house to cultivate my own plants. Meanwhile, Bai He and Quang Dao arrived at Blackstone City. Despite their progress, Quang Dao felt discouraged. He checked the rankings and saw Lu Qin dominating every single category. I was level 19 and held the top spots for gear, dungeons, and contributions. Quang Dao felt the crushing gap between us, realizing that while he struggled to survive, I had already conquered the game. My God, I've witnessed the rise of a genius. Bai He walked over and patted Quang Dao's shoulder. Stop staring. He's already over 300 years old. Quang Dao felt even more annoyed by this reminder. Let's go. We need to enter the main city and establish our guild. That's the foundation for our future. At the Silver Deer Inn, I was awakened by the system. New day started. Daily absorption limits refreshed. Longevity fruit October 10th. Lifespan crystal October 10th. Spring longevity spirit peach May 5th. Before bed, my lifespan was 490 years. Now, I began consuming my stock. The spring longevity spirit peach tasted like a spring breeze. I felt like a monkey feasting on a flat peach, only with a lot less fur. Once I finished, my lifespan hit 800 years. I checked the Blue Star leaderboard. I, Night God, sat at the top with 800 years, while Aogu sat in second with a measly 128. The gap was wide enough to make the World Channel lose its mind. Iron Shan from the Great Xia region exclaimed, "Didn't Night God only have 400-plus years yesterday? He gained 300-plus in one sleep." Players across regions reacted with shock. Anubis from the desert region questioned if I'd found the Fountain of Youth, while others just accused me of cheating. A player from the Sakura district demanded that Night God reveal his method, calling it a shared resource for Blue Star civilization. The channel was a mess of absurd comments. I sipped my life soda and decided to give them an answer. Night God. Drink more water, have less sex, exercise more, and don't stay up late. The response infuriated players from other regions, while Iron Shan laughed. Thor Thomas from North America retorted, "Are you mocking us? In North America, we take pride in our cannons. That's the secret to longevity." After some amusing banter, I closed the channel and prepared to head to the sunken ancient forest. Suddenly, a message arrived from Bai He. "I've founded the White River Alliance." Bai He explained that the guild members were primarily from Novice Village number 9527, with some additions from other Huaxia villages. Bai He invited me to join. I felt no interest. I didn't need a guild. Compared to the Hunter Association or the Blackstone Chamber of Commerce, a player-run guild shop offered little value. I declined, and Bai He admitted he expected as much. Bai He then asked for a supply of resources, promising to prioritize my intelligence requests as top-tier guild tasks. I considered this. Bai He was sharp and could serve as a useful proxy in Blackstone City, assuming I didn't mind playing the role of a glorified merchant. "We can talk," I replied. Bai He listed their needs: potions, food, low-level gear, traps, antidotes, and town portal scrolls. They were severely underfunded. I understood. Entering the main city required significant silver. Everything in the city was priced in gold or purple gold coins. Their startup costs were immense, but I didn't mind helping. I had my own agenda. I can provide the resources. My condition: find me a large house in Blackstone City. The bigger the better, preferably with farmland and a warehouse. Also, hire some maids. Prioritize those skilled in cooking, alchemy, farming, warehouse management, and intelligence gathering. Bai He was stunned. "Are you settling down?" I replied, "Just a temporary base." Bai He noted that buying property required purple gold coins, which were rare. "I have them," I replied. Bai He was shocked by my wealth. I told him to spare no expense on the house. Bai He agreed and asked if there were any dietary restrictions for the staff. I told him to handle it, then sent a massive list of startup resources, potions, scrolls, and gear to Bai He. These were low-level items that wouldn't disrupt the market, but to Bai He, they were a fortune. The inclusion of 100 white-grade and 30 fine-grade skill books was life-changing for his members. These resources were essentially a gift from heaven. Bai He promised to fulfill my requests immediately. He also pledged to prioritize any new materials or dungeon clues for me. Agreed, I replied, then headed toward the north gate. The system warned, approaching hidden area, sunken ancient forest. Excellent grade boss awakening in 2 days, 12 hours. Warning, high black fog concentration. Effects include life drain, mental erosion, and vision suppression. Proceed with caution. Death may result in a significant deduction of HP. I had never encountered a penalty like that before. Clearly, this hidden area was far more dangerous than any dungeon I had faced. After I prepped my potions, I stepped into the forest. The world went silent. The system noted my life drain was being mitigated by the breath of spring longevity and the withered spring amulet, dragging the loss down to 0.18% per second. Without those two items, even I would be panicking, let alone ordinary players. I deployed an advanced guiding lake lamp. Its blue light pierced the black mist, but the mist quickly surged back, suppressing the lamp's range. I tossed dozens more lamps to force the mist away, a truly extravagant way to light a path, as if I were trying to illuminate a ballroom rather than a swamp. As I advanced over rotting leaves that oozed dark fluid, my black crystal hunting crown triggered. Hunter crown vision. Camouflage target detected. 3 withered trees stood still, but their shadows were inching closer. Trying to play tricks, are you? I fired a blood-silver arrow, tearing through the mist and striking a shadow. Minus 28,640. Weak point hit. A whoa. The shadow shrieked, revealing a LV-18 mist-sinking tree dog, rare. HP. 42,000/42,000. Skills. Black Mist Stealth, Shadow Pounce, Rotten Wood Bite. Before it could stabilize, I applied a Shadow Blood mark. Target entered Shadow Blood state. A second armor-piercing arrow struck. Minus 19,800. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow triggered. Minus 15,420. Shadow Blood damage triggered. Minus 13,200. The dog died instantly. EXP plus 9,000. Obtained Mist-Sinking Canine Tooth, Rare, X1, Infinite. As the mist churned, a dozen more shadows emerged. Warning, Ancient Forest Hunting Group alerted. I deployed the soul-locking hunting cage formation, slowing the pack. Now, Storm Arrow Rain. Blood Silver arrows rained down. Minus 11,200, minus 10,860, minus 23,500, crit, minus 11,940. Damage numbers exploded. The dogs were suppressed by the formation and the rain. Those attempting to hide in shadows were exposed by the crown and perception. I fired 3 shots. Minus 30,120, minus 29,400, minus 61,200. Weak point crit. The hidden dog shattered. Soul hunting stacks plus 9. Hunter soul potion effect active. The rewards were immense. Within a minute, the pack was wiped. Obtained Mist-Sinking Canine Heart, Rare, X1, Infinite. I ventured deeper into the thickening mist. The trees grew grotesque, with swollen bark and dripping black slime. A deer appeared, grazing on rot. Black vine deer corpse detected. Mental erosion check. Black crystal concentration triggered. The deer had no eyes, only black mist in its sockets. LV-19 black vine deer corpse, Rare Elite, HP, 120,000/120,000. Skills, Deer Cry Soul Capture, Black Vine Entanglement, Rotten Bud Regeneration. The deer let out a cry. Deer Cry Soul Capture. I saw hanging hunters in my vision, but my gear negated the illusion instantly. I used Shadow Hunter Flash Step to vanish, reappearing behind the deer. Side/rear attack bonus active. Crystal Eye Lock. Target weak point. Neck Vine Core. Shadow Blood mark applied. Target entered Shadow Blood state. Hunter Shadow Step. I drew my bow. Soul Hunting Judgment Arrow. The bowstring hummed as a black-red arrow formed. It pierced the mist, striking the deer's neck. Minus 168,400. Weak point hit. Crystal Eye Lock. First weak point attack is a guaranteed crit. Soul Hunting Judgment Arrow full damage. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow triggered. Minus 58,600. Shadow Blood damage triggered. Minus 42,100. The deer collapsed into vines and bone. EXP plus 30,000. Obtained Black Vine Deer Bone, rare, X1, infinite. Obtained Rotten Bud Spirit Core, rare, X1, infinite. I nodded, satisfied with the damage. Nearly 100,000 damage in one shot, especially with all debuffs applied. It was a true judgment. As I moved on, the ground shook. Outer hunting units killed. Beast Tide progress, 12%. I frowned at the notification. Before I could react, red dots flooded my perception range. It was a massive swarm. I drank another Hunter Soul Potion and a poison resistance pill. Soul Hunting stacks, 1,320. Permanent weak point bonus, plus 1%. A deep cry echoed from the forest depths. Warning, you are being watched by a deep forest entity. I illuminated the area with lamps and reinforced my traps. As countless red eyes ignited in the mist, I fired. Storm Arrow Rain. The outer forest erupted. Blood silver light tore through the mist. Minus 11,800, minus 12,450, minus 26,900, minus 31,200. Crit / weak point hit. LV-18 Mist Sinking Tree Dog killed. LV-18 Rotten Leaf Hunting Crow killed. LV-19 Black Vine Deer Corpse killed. Soul Hunting stacks plus 8. Storm Arrow Rain cooldown reset. A crow dived at me, clutching a human finger. LV-18 Rotten Leaf Hunting Crow, rare, HP, 36,000/36,000. Skills, Rotten Feather Cutting, Black Mist Screech, I peck. It dived for my eyes. Hunter Crown Vision, weak point captured. I didn't look up, using Shadow Hunter Flash Step to dodge. I fired back. Minus 74,200. Weak point hit. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow triggered. Minus 28,600. The crow exploded. Obtained Rotten Leaf Crow Feather, rare, X1, infinite. However, the corpses were being absorbed by the forest. Forest recovering dead units. Beast Tide progress, 15%. Recycling. I wondered if the progress increased because I hadn't killed the boss yet. I considered a more terrifying possibility. Is the boss using these corpses as nutrients? The more I kill, the faster it wakes up. This is getting interesting. As I pushed deeper, branches lashed out like snakes. I shattered one, but a nearby tree split open to reveal a maw of human teeth. LV-19 Sinking Wood Man-Eating Tree, rare, HP, 80,000/80,000. The Sinking Wood Man-Eating Tree lunged at me, its massive maw wide open. Roots erupted from the rotting leaves, binding my ankles and slowing me. Triggering my black crystal hunting crown to weaken the restraint, I deployed the soul-locking hunting cage formation beneath my feet, trapping the roots. With the tree's maw just 3 meters away, I activated Crystal Eye Lock, identifying the mouth as its weakness. I aimed at the target, applied Shadow Bloodmark, and fired a Soul Hunter Judgment Arrow. The arrow struck deep, dealing 186,000 damage with a critical hit. Additional Soul Hunter Judgment and Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow effects triggered, dealing 42,200 and 50,600 damage respectively. The Sinking Wood Man-Eating Tree exploded from within. I gained 38,000 EXP for killing the level 19 rare monster. I looted a Sinking Wood food pouch and a Mist Sinking Tree Heart, both becoming infinite in my inventory. I was pleased to secure my first excellent grade resource from the Sinking Ancient Forest. The Mist Sinking Tree Heart is an excellent grade material used for crafting wood or mist-based gear and anti-black mist potions. As I collected the loot, a faint voice called out, "Night God, save me." A figure resembling Bai Lu appeared in the mist. I, unimpressed by the poor imitation, raised my bow and remarked, "You aren't very good at this, buddy." The figure's face split open to reveal black fangs, identifying it as a level 19 mist voice pseudo-spirit. It possessed 100,000 HP. Its skills included mimicry, illusion, spirit devouring, and backstab parasitism. It continued to mimic Bai Lu's voice, asking why he wouldn't save her. I retorted, Why would I save something as ugly as you? The creature was stunned by my bluntness. Apparently, monsters expect a bit more emotional engagement before they get executed, so I seized the moment to use Hunter Shadow Step, reappearing behind the monster. I unleashed a Shadow Assault arrow, dealing 109,000 damage to its weak point. The Hunter Shadow Step bonus triggered. A Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow hit followed, dealing 41,600 damage and piercing a massive hole through the creature. As the creature attempted to flee as mist, I threw stealth-breaking powder and prepared another arrow, wondering if I was becoming a professional pest exterminator. My Soul Hunter Judgment Arrow dealt 102,000 damage, pinning the creature to a dead tree and killing it. I gained 52,000 EXP. I looted a Mist Voice Soul Core and a Sound Decoy skill book, both becoming infinite. I noted the skill's utility for luring monsters and scouting. I learned the skill and used my infinite supply of skill books to upgrade it to level 10. At level 10, Sound Decoy creates a 20-second illusion that mimics sounds to draw monster aggro. I remarked on the deceptive nature of the sinking ancient forest, which seemed to exist solely to make me regret my choice of footwear. I pushed deeper into the ruins, stepping over a graveyard of NPCs and monsters. In a sunken clearing, I spotted a deer-like creature with a small black tree sprouting from its spine. The tree was heavy with unformed black mist cocoons. It was a level 20 Mist Nest Deer King Juvenile, an excellent grade elite. It had 260,000 HP to burn. Its list of tricks included Mist Fetus Incubation, Deer Cry Soul Capture, Ancient Forest Symbiosis, and Black Mist Charge. I was surprised by its elite status, but I knew my damage output was more than enough to handle it. The creature let out a cry, and 30 level 18 Mist Fetus Beasts crawled out of their cocoons. Each one of those things had 40,000 HP. I deployed my cage formation and sound decoy. As the beasts rushed in, I wiped them out with Storm Arrow Rain, stacking up my soul hunting power and permanently boosting my weak point damage. When the Deer King tried to heal using Ancient Forest Symbiosis, I countered with Poison Burst Arrows, cutting its healing down by 70%. The Deer King charged, but I dodged with Shadow Hunter Flash Step, reappearing behind it and locking onto its back. I drew my Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow to its limit. The bow glowed with black-red light as I fired. The arrow struck the tree core on the creature's back, dealing 238,000 damage. A follow-up Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow dealt 72,800 damage. The Deer King was defeated before it could enter its second phase. I jokingly remarked that I would report myself for being too powerful. I gained 120,000 EXP for the kill. I looted Mist Nest Deer Antlers, a Mist Nest Juvenile Core, and the Mist Shadow Hunting Domain Skill Book, all infinite. I leveled up to 20, allocated my stat points to agility, and prepared to examine my new excellent grade skill. Effect deploys a Mist Shadow Hunting Domain. Within it, your stealth, weakness detection, and ranged accuracy increase. Enemy vision, perception, and movement speed decrease. A domain skill. This is incredibly valuable. I learn it immediately and use infinite skill books to boost it to Mist Shadow Hunting Domain, excellent grade LV10. Effect deploys the domain for 60 seconds. Within it, your stealth, weakness detection, and ranged accuracy are greatly increased. Enemy vision, perception, and movement speed are reduced. LV10 trait. First weakness hit in the domain triggers additional Mist Shadow damage. I smile, though I suspect my face is just practicing for a future career in villainy. The Sunken Ancient Forest has dropped a specialized home field skill. Combining this with the soul-locking hunting cage formation will allow me to stack all debuffs on enemies instantly. Haha, I should call this the hunting domain. I laugh, then turn serious as the Mist Nest Deer King Juvenile's corpse sinks into the ground. A deep, booming cry echoes from the depths. The ground shakes, and black mist erupts. System, you killed the Mist Nest Deer King Juvenile. Beast Tide Progress, 24%. I realize the corpse was fuel to awaken something stronger. I stare into the forest. I must kill it quickly. Warning, entering boss territory. LV20 Mist Nest Mother Deer, excellent grade boss, is awakening. I chug my potions and step inside. The mist parts and the trees bow out of my way, clearing a path. A 10-meter-long deer-like monster emerges, its back anchored by a twisted ancient tree. I'm starting to think I should have brought a bigger sword. It looks like the juvenile I fought earlier, but this one is draped in black mist cocoons, jagged bones, and thick fog. It stares down at me with nothing but empty eye sockets. Just two bottomless pools of black mist staring back. LV-20 Mist Nest Mother Deer, excellent grade boss. HP 1-800-000/1 800-000. Skills: Black Mist Swap, Deer Cry Soul Capture, Mist Fetus Incubation, Ancient Forest Symbiosis, Mist Nest Rampage. Description: the core matriarch of the sunken ancient forest. If fully awakened, it will trigger a minor beast tide. 1.8 million HP. Now that is a real boss. It is on a completely different level from the juvenile. Affected by Mist Nest Domain. Vision reduced. HP drains. Mental erosion increases. Buffs from Breath of Spring Longevity, Withered Spring Amulet, and Black Crystal Hunting Crown activate, mitigating the debuffs. I set up the soul-locking hunting cage formation, but the mother deer vanishes via Black Mist Swap. My Black Crystal Hunting Crown alerts me to a shift. I use Shadow Hunter Flash Step to dodge. The mother deer's massive antlers smash through the trees where I stood. A direct hit would have been devastating even with wind protection. I draw my bow. Crystal Eye Lock. Weakness: left antler base. Shadow Blood Mark. A Shadow Assault Arrow strikes the mark. Minus 86,400. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow and Shadow Blood damage. Trigger: dealing extra damage. The mother deer uses Deer Cry Soul Capture. I hear the voices of my rivals calling me, but my black crystal concentration mitigates the mental erosion. I drink an intermediate spirit potion and deploy Mist Shadow Hunting Domain. The domains clash, and I successfully trap the mother deer's front hooves with the soul-locking hunting cage formation. I use Hunter Shadow Step and Shadow Hunter Flash Step to flank the beast. I fire the Soul Hunter Judgment Arrow. It pierces the heart of the twisted tree on its back. Minus 176,800. Weakness hit. Critical hit. Soul Hunting Judgment and Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow. Trigger. Minus 52,400. Minus 48,600. Mist Shadow Hunting Domain adds minus 33,600 damage. The boss HP drops to 1.4 million. Enraged, the cocoons on its back pulse. Mist Nest Mother Deer uses Mist Fetus Incubation. 24 LV-18 Mist Fetus Beasts emerge. I use a sound decoy to lure them into the formation, hoping they're at least as gullible as they look. I fire Storm Arrow Rain. Minus 12,400. Minus 25,100. Minus 11,800. Minus 12,650. The beasts are wiped out. Soul Hunting Stacks +4. Cooldown reset. I consume 1,000 stacks to permanently increase weakness damage by 1%. The mother deer tries to heal with Ancient Forest Symbiosis. I don't let it. I fire 5 Poison Burst Arrows, dealing corrosive poison and cutting that healing down by 70%. The healing slows to a crawl, but I know better. Unless I destroy the roots, it won't stop. I weave through the forest, hunting for my opening. I target the roots and let loose a volley of burst arrows. The roots shatter. Ancient Forest Symbiosis interrupted. The mother deer charges with Black Mist Swap. I get snared by black vines, but I burn a wind protection and a barrier scroll to tank the impact. I heal back to full and trap the beast again. I aim for the ribcage. A clean hit. Minus 93,800. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow and Shadow Blood damage. Trigger. Minus 36,600. Minus 30,400. HP at 1.05 million. The boss enters Phase 2. Mist Nest Rampage. HP 1-054-000/1 800-000. The mother deer screams. More cocoons burst. 36 LV-19 Mist Fetus Beasts appear and attempt to sacrifice themselves to heal the mother deer. I use Storm Arrow Rain. Minus 13,600. Minus 14,100. Minus 28,600. Minus 13,280. The beasts are destroyed. The mother deer uses an enhanced Deer cry soul capture. I am stunned for 2 seconds, but recover with a potion, proving once again that my survival is largely dependent on how many expensive liquids I can chug in a crisis. The mother deer uses Mist Nest Trample. I dodge, but am hit by a black mist beam. Blood Shadow Life Substitution triggers, saving me from a fatal blow. I heal and prepare a boosted Soul Hunter Judgment Arrow. I've got the mother deer cornered and smothered in corrosive poison. Healing reduced by 70%. I let this Soul Hunter Judgment Arrow fly. It buries itself right into the eye on the mother deer's back. Minus 248,600. Soul Hunting Judgment and Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow trigger. Minus 68,200. Minus 59,400. Mist Shadow Hunting Domain and Shadow Blood Damage trigger. Minus 38,600. Minus 45,200. The eye is gone. Black Mist Swap disabled. Its HP is down to 600,000. I follow up with Storm Arrow Rain. Minus 14,200. Minus 15,100. Minus 29,800. I destroy the tree wall shield with burst arrows. The mother deer tries to flee, but I use a sound decoy to distract it. I fire a final shadow assault arrow into the eye socket. Minus 118,900. Weakness hit. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow triggers. Minus 43,800. Shadow Blood Damage triggers. Minus 39,200. The Mist Nest Deer Mother's HP drops below 300,000. At this very moment, the mist nest on its back exploded with a deafening roar. Countless black mist cocoons ruptured simultaneously. Mist Nest Deer Mother activates final skill, Mist Nest Riot. A large number of mist fetus beasts are about to hatch. My expression darkened. A large number of mist fetus beasts? Are they trying to go down with me? I threw out a pile of traps without hesitation. Do you really think I'll let you get away? As the mist fetus beasts hatched, they were all ruthlessly controlled by me. Storm Arrow Rain. Boom. Wave after wave of mist fetus beasts were wiped out. Soul Hunting stacks +5. Soul Hunting stacks +5. Storm Arrow Rain cooldown refunded. Yu. The Mist Nest Deer Mother let out a final, furious roar. Dragging its remaining health, it suddenly lowered its head and charged at me with its broken antlers. I did not dodge. Blood Shadow Life Substitution still had its mark, and Wind Protection had finished its cooldown. However, I didn't intend to take the hit head-on. I drew the Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow, pouring all my status buffs into this final arrow. Whoosh! The arrow pierced through the black mist. It struck the crack in the Mist Nest Deer Mother's eye. Minus 126,400. Weakness hit. Critical hit triggered. Soul Hunting Arrow Shadow triggers. Minus 48,600. Shadow Blood Damage triggers. Minus 41,200. The Mist Nest Deer Mother's charge came to an abrupt, stiff halt. Its massive body was less than 5 meters away from me. The next second, the Mist Nest eye on its back burst open, and a large mass of black liquid exploded from within. The Mist Nest Deer Mother let out a mournful cry, and then its giant body collapsed to the ground with a thunderous crash. Congratulations, you have successfully killed the LV-20 Mist Nest Deer Mother. Excellent grade boss. Experience plus 800,000. Excellent grade boss awakening countdown terminated. Obtain Blackstone City reputation plus 200. Obtained Hunter Association reputation plus 200. Obtained Ancient Forest contribution plus 5,000. Obtained title, Sunken Ancient Forest Pioneer. Obtained equipment, Mist Deer King Crown, excellent grade, X1, quantity changed to infinite. Obtained material, Mist Nest Core, excellent grade, X1, quantity changed to infinite. Obtained skill book, Black Mist Judgment, excellent grade, X1, quantity changed to infinite. Obtained treasure chest, Sunken Ancient Forest treasure chest, excellent grade, X1, quantity changed to infinite. Congratulations, you have reached LV-22. Lifespan plus 2 years. All attributes plus 2. Free attribute points plus 10. Skill points plus 6. I let out a slow breath, feeling like a walking loot crate, and said, add everything to agility. Agility plus 10. Golden light descended repeatedly, and my status was restored. Now that feels comfortable. Meanwhile, in the direction of Blackstone City, a regional announcement echoed across the entire sky. Player Night God has completed the first kill of an excellent grade boss in Blackstone City. Obtained additional first kill rewards. Experience plus 500,000. Blackstone City reputation plus 300. Hunter Association reputation plus 300. Sunken Ancient Forest reputation plus 500. Free attribute points plus 50. Skill points plus 50. Lifespan plus 100 years. Awarded excellent grade random class skill chest X1. Quantity change to infinite. Awarded excellent grade random equipment chest X1. Quantity change to infinite. Awarded excellent grade material selection chest X1. Quantity change to infinite. Awarded special title excellent first hunter. Quantity change to infinite. Sunken Ancient Forest reputation system unlocked. Sunken Ancient Forest danger level decreased. Player Night God has topped the Blackstone City total contribution ranking. These notifications hit the sky like a barrage. The players in Blackstone City were stunned, staring upward. An excellent grade boss. Night God soloed an excellent grade boss. Wasn't he only LV19 yesterday? Who exactly is the boss in this game? I just want to ask, are the rewards for killing bosses this generous now? 500k experience, 100 years of lifespan. This is too rich. He stood in front of the White River Alliance's temporary base, remaining silent for a long time after hearing the announcement. Finally, he only said one thing. Everyone, keep the sinking wood anti-poison pills and Witherspring Spirit do that Night God gave us safe. The outskirts of the sunken ancient forest might become the next major resource point. Kwang Dao stood nearby, staring at my name on the leaderboard, unable to snap out of it for a long time. Inside the sunken ancient forest, I stood before the corpse of the mist nest dear mother, feeling my breath hitch. Excellent grade skill, equipment, and material chests, all infinite. The concept was simple. I could expand my skill pool, farm gear, and pick materials until I broke the game. This first kill reward had multiplied my total gains several times over. This is too awesome. I then looked at my new title. Excellent First Hunter. Effect 1. Damage dealt to monsters below excellent grade increased by 10%. Effect 2. When killing monsters of rare grade or higher, gain an additional 5% experience. Effect 3. Favorability with all Hunter-class NPCs in Blackstone City increased. Good title. I equipped it immediately. As for my lifespan, current lifespan, 903 years. I couldn't help but laugh as I looked at the number. I had only just pushed my lifespan to 800 years this morning. Now, after killing one excellent grade boss, I had broken through 900 years. If I ate the longevity fruit, lifespan crystal, and spring longevity spirit peach tomorrow morning, that would be another 310 years added to my account. The lifespan ranking? It would only become more ridiculous from here on out. Ha ha ha. Time to head home. Time to open chests. I returned to Blackstone City. I didn't waste time on the streets. I headed straight for the Silver Deer Inn, claimed the best suite, and collapsed onto the bed to start the real work, opening my mountain of treasure chests. I got too many things in the sunken ancient forest this time. I must organize them properly. I grabbed the excellent grade random equipment chest first. Prompt. Do you wish to open the excellent grade random equipment chest? Open. You opened the excellent grade random equipment chest. Congratulations, you have obtained Mist Shadow Hunter King Armor, excellent grade. Open, open, open. Open them all for me. I didn't bother checking stats yet. I just wanted to clear the backlog. After burning through nearly 600 chests, the system interrupted me. Prompt. Detected that you possess a full set of excellent grade equipment. Do you wish to equip it now? Oh, I froze. I stopped opening chests immediately. Mist Shadow Hunter King set. Grade, excellent grade. Currently collected. Hunter King Armor, Hunter King Bracers, Hunter King Boots, Hunter King Cloak, Hunter King Belt, Hunter King Leggings, Hunter King Necklace, Hunter King Ring. I pulled up the set attributes. Mist Shadow Hunter King set, excellent grade. 2-piece effect, weakness damage plus 15%. 4-piece effect, perception ability against stealth, shadow, mist, and camouflage units increased. 6-piece effect, after using a displacement skill, The next ranged attack adds Mist Shadow damage. 8-piece effect. Can activate Mist Shadow Hunter state for 30 seconds. During this state, your own weakness hit rate, critical hit rate, and movement speed are increased, while the vision and perception of surrounding enemy units are decreased. My eyes grew brighter and brighter. This set was tailor-made for a Blood Shadow Hunter. Bonus damage after displacement. Weakness damage bonus. Reduced enemy vision and perception. Adding this to my Shadow Hunter Flash Step, Crystal Eye Lock, and Mist Shadow Hunting Domain. It was perfect. I swapped out my old gear without a second thought. Insect King Leather Armor replaced by Mist Shadow Hunter King Armor. Shadow Beast Cloak replaced by Mist Shadow Hunter King Cloak. Mirror Lake Ring replaced by Mist Shadow Hunter King Ring. As for the Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow and Black Crystal Hunting Crown, I wouldn't replace them for now. One was an excellent grade +10 weapon that perfectly fit my soul hunting system. The other was the core for spirit resistance and weakness perception. There was no need to force a replacement just to complete the headpiece set. The 8-piece set was already activated, which was enough. Next, enhancement. I took out the Excellent Grade Equipment Enhancement Stones. Excellent Grade Equipment Enhancement Stone. Infinity. Enhance everything to +10. Mist Shadow Hunter King Armor, +1. Mist Shadow Hunter King Armor, +10. Mist Shadow Hunter King Ring, +10. A series of enhancement lights lit up in the room. Blood Silver, Mist Black, Dark Gold. Several types of light effects intertwined, almost turning the entire Silver Deer suite into a treasure vault. Mist Shadow Hunter King set fully enhanced to +10. Set effects have received additional enhancements. 2-piece enhancement. Weakness damage increase effect enhanced. 4-piece enhancement. Detection probability against camouflage units increased. 6-piece enhancement. Mist Shadow damage increased. 8-piece enhancement. Mist Shadow Hunter state duration increased to 45 seconds. I open my panel. Nickname, Night God. Level, LV22. Class, Blood Shadow Hunter. Lifespan, 903 years. HP, 7200/7200. Mana, 2950/2950. Physical attack, 1260. Agility, 690. Critical hit rate, 72%. Weakness damage bonus, significantly increased. Equipment status, Mist Shadow Hunter King 8-piece set +10 activated. I nodded with satisfaction. This is what you call a complete set of equipment. A full Mist Shadow Hunter King set, paired with the Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow and Black Crystal Hunting Crown. This wasn't just stacking attributes anymore. My entire playstyle had been enhanced. I didn't stop. After the equipment was done, it was time for skills. I still have too few excellent grade skills. Open more. The more, the better. I needed powerful output skills, plus survival and control skills. Excellent grade random class skill chest. Infinity, open. You opened the excellent grade random class skill chest. Congratulations, you have obtained skill book. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain, excellent grade. An area of effect skill. My eyes lit up. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain, excellent grade. Effect. Release a Mist Shadow Arrow Rain on a designated area, dealing multiple stages of ranged damage to enemies within the range, and reducing the target's vision and movement speed. This was more advanced than Storm Arrow Rain. It wasn't just damage, it also included control and vision suppression. Learn. You have learned Mist Shadow Arrow Rain. Continue opening. You opened the excellent grade random class skill chest. Congratulations, you have obtained skill book. Soul Hunter Burst Arrow, excellent grade. Soul Hunter Burst Arrow, excellent grade. Effect. Fire a Soul Hunter Burst Arrow that explodes upon hitting a target or terrain, dealing Soul Hunter damage to enemies within the range. Deals additional damage to marked targets. Another area of effect skill, as if my inventory wasn't already becoming a cluttered warehouse of destruction. And it was a burst type, suitable for clearing mobs and also for fighting summon-type bosses. Continue. You opened the excellent grade random class skill chest. Congratulations, you have obtained skill book. 1000 Shadow Chain Shot, excellent grade. 1000 Shadow Chain Shot, excellent grade. Effect. Lock onto multiple targets within range in a short time, firing multiple shadow arrows in succession. If the target has a weakness exposed, damage is increased. My eyes lit up completely. These 3 skills were exactly the area of effect output I was lacking. Previously, my area of effect skills relied mainly on Storm Arrow Rain. Storm Arrow Rain was strong, but its grade could no longer keep up with the current pace. Now it was perfect. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain. Soul Hunter Burst Arrow. 1000 Shadow Chain Shot. With 3 excellent grade area of effect skills, my group combat ability was maxed out. I continued opening chests. Duplicate skill books appeared constantly. All were converted into proficiency. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain Proficiency plus 1000. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain level increased. Soul Hunter Burst Arrow Proficiency plus 1000. 1000 Shadow Chain Shot Proficiency plus 1000. A moment later, all 3 major area of effect skills were maxed out. Mist Shadow Arrow Rain, excellent grade, LV10. Effect: release a Mist Shadow Arrow Rain for 5 seconds in a designated area, dealing multiple stages of damage to enemies within the range, and reducing the target's movement speed and vision range by 40%. LV10 trait. Enemies within the Arrow Rain area are more likely to expose weaknesses. Soul Hunter Burst Arrow, excellent grade, LV10 effect. Fire a Soul Hunter Burst Arrow, dealing area explosion damage upon impact. If the target is under Shadow Blood Mark, bleeding, slowed, or immobilized, explosion damage is increased. LV10 trait. When killing a target of fine grade or higher, there is a chance to trigger a secondary burst. 1000 Shadow Chain Shot, excellent grade, LV10. Effect: fire shadow arrows at up to 30 targets within range in a short time. Each target can be hit up to 3 times. LV10 trait. If the target's weakness is exposed, the final arrow is guaranteed to be a critical hit. I looked at the skill panel and couldn't help but laugh. Now that's comfortable. I then opened the excellent grade material selection chest. This chest was even simpler. Whatever you want, you choose. It's all about being real. You obtain Black Mist Crystal Marrow, excellent grade material. Black Mist Crystal Marrow entered the backpack. Quantity changed to infinite. Sinking Wood Spirit Heart entered the backpack. Quantity changed to infinite. Mist Nestbone Marrow entered the backpack. Quantity changed to infinite. Over 100 types of materials, all changed to infinite quantities. I didn't bother checking if they were useful. I just dumped them all into my storage. I like to be prepared for anything. I spent a moment organizing my resources and sorting my old equipment into categories. Equipment, materials, items. These old pieces of gear were useless to me now, but to ordinary players, they were god tier. I couldn't just dump them on the market. Flooding it would be a disaster. I decided I'd keep them for my subordinates and maid guards, or maybe auction them off whenever I felt like stirring the pot. Baihe. It's very large, with medicinal fields, warehouses, a basement, a training ground, stables, and a small abandoned lake. Baihe. It used to belong to a fallen hunter noble family. Baihe. It's called Moonshadow Manor. I read the message, the corners of my mouth curving upward. Moonshadow Manor. Sounds good. I replied. Night God, did you find out the price? Baihe replied quickly. Baihe. I asked around. Moonshadow Manor currently belongs to the Blackstone City Real Estate Department and is in a state of trusteeship. Baihe. Because the original owner's family declined, the manor's barrier was damaged, the medicinal fields were abandoned, and it has been vacant for a long time. Baihe. But the location and size are excellent. Baihe. The asking price is 300 purple gold coins. 300 purple gold coins. That was 300,000 gold coins. Hearing this number, even I was surprised. If other players heard this, they would be scared to tears. At the current stage, the vast majority of players couldn't even come up with 100 gold coins. As for people who could take out 300,000 gold coins to buy a manor, in the entire Blackstone City, besides NPCs, there probably wasn't a single player who could afford it. But I didn't count, as my own financial planning usually involves hoping for a miracle rather than actual math. Night God, I'm coming over now. Take me to see it. Baihe was clearly silent for a second on the other end. Then he replied. Baihe, all right. Blackstone City North District. It was different from the main street. The main street was bustling and lively, with shops everywhere. The North District, however, was significantly quieter. Baihe was already waiting at the intersection. With him was a middle-aged NPC wearing a gray robe, whom he had contacted in advance. Blackstone City real estate manager, Hope. When Bai saw me, he immediately walked over. Night God. His gaze fell on the mist shadow Hunter King set on me, and his expression paused. Holy crap. Although he already knew that I had a full set of excellent grade equipment enhanced to +10, but after actually seeing the light effects on me, he still couldn't help but drool. Too badass. A moment later, Bai suppressed the excitement in his heart and said slowly, Night God, this is Manager Hope from the real estate agency. Hope had originally maintained a professional smile, but after seeing the entire set of equipment on me, his attitude immediately became much more respectful. This person must be the richest person in Blackstone City. There weren't even a few people in the whole city with +10 equipment right now, and I had a full set. Not simple. Mr. Night God, I heard from Mr. Baihe that you want to purchase Moonshadow Manor. I have everything ready on my end. Please follow me. The trio walked deep into the North District until they reached a high wall made of gray-black bricks. Above the iron gate hung an old plaque, Moonshadow Manor. As the gate opened, a musty scent wafted out. The manor was far more massive than I had imagined. I had only seen such estates in online games before, but seeing one in reality was staggering. Hope led the way, pointing out the abandoned medicinal field, the training ground, and the stables, servant quarters, and small lake out back. Moonshadow Manor once belonged to the Moonshadow Hunter nobility of Blackstone City. At its peak, the family produced gold-grade hunters, but after a disastrous expedition outside the city, they fell into decline. The manor has been vacant since, though the infrastructure remains. The main house, warehouse, basement, and training grounds are functional. The field is overgrown but has good soil. The old barrier is damaged, but the foundation remains. My eyes lit up at the mention of the foundation. A foundation meant I could easily restore the barrier with materials, something I had in abundance. Hope noted the downsides: high maintenance costs, expensive repairs, and the need for servants. These were the reasons the manor had remained unsold. I dismissed these concerns and asked for the deed. Hope was stunned by my immediate offer to pay in full, but his smile turned radiant as he produced the black deed. In the game, purchasing private land required signing a deed. Moonshadow Manor Deed. Type: Special Permission Item. Effect: Grants ownership of Moonshadow Manor. Price: 300 purple gold coins. I paid instantly. I became the owner of the manor, currently listed as status: abandoned, barrier, damaged, field, fallow, servants, 0, warehouse, large, basement, usable. I nodded in satisfaction. The facilities were more than sufficient for my first main city stronghold. He watched, stunned, as I spent 300 purple gold coins without blinking, a fortune that could sustain the White River Alliance for a long time. I asked if Bai had found servants. Bai nodded, and soon, 5 NPC women entered the manor. The leader was a 27-year-old woman with black hair and a calm demeanor. Aina. Identity: housekeeper. Skills: accounting, warehouse management, contracts, servant scheduling. Behind her were Lia, cook; Misha, potion apprentice; Wei, gardener; and Nora, bedchambermaid. The first few were standard. I looked at Bai with a questioning gaze regarding the last one, Nora. Bai just smiled. I spoke to the maids and signed long-term contracts. Employment contract. Parties: Night God, Aina, Lia, Misha, Wei, Nora. Type: long-term employment. Terms: unlimited use of materials for manor maintenance. Strict confidentiality under penalty of lifespan deduction. Reward: 1 purple gold coin per month. The maids were thrilled by the generous pay, which was 10 times their previous market rate. They immediately began working with great enthusiasm. Bai jokingly asked if I needed more servants, specifically of my own gender. I told him to get lost. However, acknowledging Bai's help, I gave him a reward. I handed over several excellent grade random class skill books, a batch of potions, and a purple gold coin. This is for you. Bai was ecstatic, promising the White River Alliance's full support for any future hits. I patted his shoulder. That won't be necessary, but I'll call on you if I need more manpower. After Bai left, I instructed Aina to clean the main house tonight and start on the warehouse and basement tomorrow. Also, everyone entering the manor must be registered. I ordered. Aina agreed. Standing on the second floor, I looked out over the estate, planning to fill it with longevity trees. I kept dinner simple, courtesy of Leah. I handed Aina 2,000 gold coins for supplies, making sure she knew that quality was the only priority. Aina hesitated for a moment before mentioning that Nora had prepared a bath for me. Later that night, Nora showed up at my room with a hot drink in hand. She was dressed in a soft black and white maid outfit, her gray hair spilling over her shoulders. Identity: bedchamber maid. Skills: personal care, night watch, emotional soothing, intimate service. Master: this is a soothing honey milk prepared by Leah. Miss Aina said you should drink this after your busy day. I finished the drink and had to admit it was delicious. Nora then asked if I needed her to stay the night. I gestured to the bedside. Nora blushed slightly. After changing into a sleeping gown, she sat down. I simply told her to sleep. The next morning, Nora was already up, having prepared warm water and organized my clothes. She informed me that the Black Gold Chamber of Commerce had sent an invitation to a high-end auction in 3 days. Auction invitation. Time: 3 days later. Participants: high-level adventurers, merchants, nobles. I realized this was the perfect opportunity to sell my excess items, assuming I didn't accidentally bankrupt the entire room by flooding the market. I planned to offer Witherspring Spirit Dew, anti-poison pills, lifespan crystals, or rare survival gear. The chamber offered me a VIP box and waived fees if I provided a finale item. Nora noted that with my fame, anything I sold would attract massive interest. I decided to offer 10 bottles of Witherspring Spirit Dew and 10 longevity fruits. I asked Aina about the status of the spirit peach pits I planted. Aina presented a report. She explained that while the pits were growing, they required life spirit spring and special soil to sprout. I wondered if the soil and liquid I previously provided were insufficient. Aina confirmed they were only for standard use. The pits needed a stronger life force. I decided to investigate further later. I gave each mate a spring longevity spirit peach, shocking them with my generosity. They knew these peaches granted 50 years of life each. I then consumed my own stash: 10 longevity fruits, 10 lifespan crystals, and 5 spring longevity spirit peaches. Aina watched in disbelief as I treated the precious fruit like a snack. Over the next 3 days, I alternated between grinding dungeons and resting at the manor. The manor became increasingly refined. My gains were substantial. I gained 310 years of lifespan each day. My total lifespan soared from 903 to 1837 years, putting me at the top of the Blue Star lifespan leaderboard by a massive margin. I reached level 26. Weakness damage bonus, greatly increased via Mist Shadow Hunter set, Soul Hunting Mark, and class specialization. Core gear: Mist Shadow Hunter 8-piece set plus 10, Beast Cage Soul Hunter Bow plus 10, Black Crystal Hunting Crown plus 10. On the third afternoon, Aina informed me the auction was 2 hours away. I told her to prepare to accompany me. Aina bowed, and 2 hours later, the Black Gold auction began.